the Truck Series Rough Riders are about to saddle up. Some new faces making noise in the Truck Series, like McCumbee and Sauter fighting for that first win, to guys like Crafton trying to score their second. David Starr is in his home state, but the lone star last week was Brian Scott. Will it be someone else who shines under the lights tonight? The new Dallas Cowboy Stadium opens with a concert this weekend, but this venue is still the biggest stadium in the state. And while other series were washed out today, nothing but blue skies here in Texas. Cowboy up for the setup. Welcome to the rodeo known as the setup. I'm Krista Voda, and yes, once again, I am wearing one of the gifts that will go to the winner of tonight's race, a custom Charlie one-horse hat. Track President Addie Gossage loves it when I pull out the cowboy hat. Now, I may have the hat, but the guys holding the reins for our pit coverage tonight, well, they may not ride a bull, but they certainly steer our broadcast. Ray Dunlap and Adam Alexander, and I know you guys have big news. In fact, big news in the entire world of NASCAR. Adam, let's start with you.
Exactly, Krista, and this weekend it comes off track. NASCAR announcing they will go to double file restarts in their top series at Pocono on Sunday, that being, of course, the Sprint Cup teams. That meaning all lead lap cars will start at the front of the field side by side on every restart. All those vehicles one lap or more down start at the tail of the field. It's expected to be adopted in both the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series and the Nationwide Series in the coming weeks. Ray?
And Adam, beginning back in 2009 at Daytona, we went to brand new rules for pit road here in the Camping World Truck Series, where the teams could only put fuel in or add tires, and then they had to come back and do that in another pit stop. But what I'm hearing in the garage this weekend is that when they do implement the double file restarts here in the Camping World Truck Series, there will be some sort of a change in our pit road rules. Very likely we may go back to 7 men going over the wall. Krista?
All right, thanks, Ray. Big news indeed. Those are some headlines, but we have some others as well. Let's start with our front row. It's Johnny Sauter on the pole, the 13th ThorSport team, riding a huge wave of momentum after a good finish in Dover last week. Alongside in row 1, no surprise to see Ron Hornady. And by the way, his sponsor is Longhorn. Also, Hornady's teammate Ricky Carmichael is back in the field tonight, driving the number 4, and it's already been a wild ride for Carmichael. Taking a look at yesterday's practice session, check out this in-car coverage. Look at Carmichael sawing the wheel there. He would go for a spin. Now he would save the truck and actually turn in a great qualifying effort. Carmichael will start 8th. And we have a lot more. This is just the first race in a straight month for these guys. From here in Texas, we go to what we call the 3 M's, Michigan, Milwaukee, and Memphis. You will see it all on speed. So that is a big month of June coming up here in the Truck Series. Meanwhile, the month of May wrapped up with a race that had some controversy. Now, for one driver, it will go down in the history books as purely monumental, but for others, it was simply tired. Here's a look back at Dover. A day late and $1 short. Well, this truck race may be about 24 hours delayed, but the fans are about to get their money's worth.
One of the storylines, obviously, tires, a big issue here at Dover.
Caution's out. There's Hornady's fence.
Oh, point leader. Wall, and it's Ron Hornady.
No reason for that, dude. It wasn't vibrating or anything. That 33 is killed. I mean, like, right front's not even moving, killed. Dude, it was flat back here. Why did he even turn into the corner?
Seems to be a few problems with tires here this afternoon.
That right front tire was absolutely shredded and destroyed.
Tire is flat on the 30 of Todd Bodine.
It's another tire, a right front Goodyear, that has caused a problem for Johnny. They have given the teams another set of right side tires. I'm not sure that anybody has anything for Kyle right now.
Get on a little island here and just dictate the pace. 51's got a right front down.
Kyle Busch is going to pit. He has got a vibration in the right front.
Coming to you next time. Right sides, right sides. I don't know if I'll even make it.
Now he's into the wall over on turn 2.
The 6 of Colin Brown. They were 1 and 2.
David Starr just came on the radio and said he has got a right side tire going down.
The 6, the 51, the 24 all had flat tires at once.
The 16 stayed on the racetrack, and Jeff Hensley said, I'm going to make a gamble here.
I absolutely would not leave my truck on the racetrack without coming in the tires.
I don't care what, if I've got anything in the pit, I'm going to put it on my truck. These tires have got to be worn right to the edge of their life.
We'll see if Brian Scott can hold off the field. Green flag in the air.
I know they're just on the edge of their racing shoes trying to figure out if that thing's going to make it to the finish.
Last lap, thrown home, 1 more time.
Brian Scott will win at the Monster Mile.
Woo! Woo! Baby, yeah! Come on, do a burnout. Better pinch me. Got to be a dream.
The points look like this. Our defending champ, Johnny Benson, drops all the way down to 10th. Brian Scott, meanwhile, jumps all the way up to 5th. Kyle Busch is still on this list, but he will drop because he is not racing tonight. Now, the top 2 remain the same, but they are so much closer, from 84 to just 27 points apart. Ray is with 1/2 of our 1-2 punch.
Well, and Hornady keeps the points lead, but Ron, what an incredible hit you took at Dover. That was pretty amazing.
My hat's off to Butler Built, what he does with the seats, and KHI, what they do with their trucks, and especially NASCAR with all the safety stuff. I could say in my career that was one of the hardest hits I've hit, and man, just walk away from that. But it was cool. I mean, they build good trucks, and that's all it takes. And I'm still here, and we're here at Texas. We're going to go have fun.
All right, go get them here at Texas tonight. Hornady, your points leader. Let's check back in with Adam.
And Mike Skinner only 27 points behind Hornady in the championship, but 8 of the last 9 races here at Texas, you started on the front row. How do you manage tonight's event from the 11th starting spot?
We might win tonight. I mean, we've had the dominant truck here so many times and lost. So I don't know. Our X-Side Tundra is driving really, really good, and 5F Ranch just came along and helped us out as well. So for some good trophy hunting, you got to go check out their website and check them out. But we had a great week so far. Our truck is good. Can't wait to get going.
And I think you have something to show the boss, huh?
Well, we've had a long relationship with Justin Boot Company. And when we come to Texas, we get the team boots, and we got David Dollar some boots. I want you to see something. Randy, I know you couldn't be here, but this is Randy Moss's boot.
Size 15s, Krista. They're pretty nice.
Okay, here, check this out.
Pretty nice indeed. I'm so jealous. I have a hat, but I do not have the cowboy boots. So if those fit Randy Moss, I wonder if they'd fit Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal will be in town and will be at the track tomorrow. And Neal is affiliated with an IndyCar team, the IRL Series, racing here tomorrow. That means Elio Castroneves and Danica Patrick, along with you, are also watching us tonight. These are NASCAR's blue-collar workers. It's trucks in Texas. Yeehaw!
Coming up from Texas, Ricky Carmichael shows the Fort Worth police a thing or two about getting around on 2 wheels. We'll go bumper to bumper with TJ Bell. And we'll talk to Brian Scott about his first career win in NASCAR. All this, plus racing under the lights at the Great American Speedway when the setup returns, only on Speed.
Brought to you by Camping World. Visit campingworld.com for the largest selection and best values on fifth-wheel travel trailers.
Ron Hornady will win his 35th NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race. Hornady goes to the outside. A battle for the lead, and he makes the pass. Across the start-finish line, Hornady wins in Texas.
Great run by Ron Hornady, that Pro Motor Engineering.
Ron Hornady had never won at Texas before last year. Then he went on that tear, taking up the broom for the Texas sweep. Welcome back to the setup from Texas. Last time we were here, our speed crew, speaking of brooms, we were channeling the Wizard of Oz. Do you remember that? Those were some good times. Now, from good to great, Ron Hornady is in great position to win 3 in a row. Meanwhile, his teammate, Ricky Carmichael, is trying to do on 4 wheels what he did on 2, and that is succeed. Recently, Carmichael brought his bike, yes, his motorcycle, right here to this track. Take a look.
Ricky Carmichael, Truck Series rookie, Supercross star, AKA the GOAT, got a chance to take on the Dallas-Fort Worth Police Department.
Good afternoon and welcome to Texas Motor Speedway. We really appreciate all you officers coming out today, and you do a tremendous job, and we figured we might as well bring tremendous talent out here.
Things I've taken for granted on this because I just do it as second nature. I would have to think about it, like using the clutch and the gas to kind of balance me.
Pretty neat deal out here today with the Fort Worth Motorcycle Police Department. I brought my motorcycle and they brought their Harleys. I got a lot of respect for after watching them go on these things on street bikes as big and as heavy as those things are. I mean, they about outran me, and I'm a professional, but they're professionals too.
You had to crush me.
Man, that's a good ride.
Yeah.
Awesome control, man.
No,
that was awesome. Getting through those offsets, sliding your rear end around. That's what I'm talking about. Did you hear us cheering for you?
Yeah,
You probably did.
Hey,
We were going,
I did the
yeah.
whole time I was doing. I just kept thinking about how hard it would be on that.
And Ricky Carmichael ready to make another start in truck racing. What do you think about Texas Motor Speedway?
This place is fast. Got a good qualifying run. We finished 8th there, so really happy for the guys. Got a new crew chief this weekend, and Monster Chevrolet's running fast. And I just want to finish the race. I need to get back on the momentum and get some good finishes like I had at California and the good run that I was having at Atlanta. So just glad to be here, man. This place is wild.
All right, keep learning. That's Ricky. Let's check in with Adam.
Two-time Texas winner Dennis Setzer with a runner-up finish a week ago. That a nice event for you guys. How does that confidence carry over and help you tonight, Dennis?
Well, it's good. You know, we had a good qualifying tonight. Randy Dean put a great truck here together. This thing unloaded really good here. The best I've been on right front coil bond with this team. So we're pretty excited about that. Tire wear looks excellent here at Texas. And, you know, we appreciate Dave Malkson. He brought us out another time. We're week to week. I don't really have a full-time job with him, but he's took me 4, 5, 6 races right now. We got 2 more scheduled right now. So each time we run good, it gets him excited. And I think he's ready to go again. So a little sponsorship for this team would really go a long ways right now, but Dave's done a great job right here.
Setzer starting 5th tonight.
All right, and you heard Adam say there, Setzer is a 2-time winner, but both of his wins have come when the calendar says June 11th. Can he win on a different date? Rick Allen and Phil Parsons are up in the booth getting ready for tonight's race, and you guys look a little lonely because no Mikey this week, but Rick, I imagine he's watching, right?
Yeah, and I'm sure I'll get a text as soon as we go on the air of things that he wants me to say for him. But let's talk a little bit about this racetrack, Phil. It seems like we've seen drivers win consecutively at this track.
Yeah, Adam talked to Dennis Setzer, a 2-time winner here. We know Ty Bodine's won 4 of the last 9 races here. Hornady swept last year. Kyle Busch swept the Nationwide Series here last year. And Carl Edwards swept the Cup Series here last year. When you have a good setup here at Texas, you can run it over and over again. That's why we've seen so much success from the drivers that have been able to get it done here.
Yeah, Brendan Gaughan won 4 straight at this racetrack in 2002 and 2003. Now let's go back to pit road and Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. One of the most impressive teams in the last couple of weeks has certainly been Thor Sport Racing. Matt Crafton driving for them. You will start 3rd tonight, but when I looked at your stats, in 3 of the last 4 races here, you finished 7th. So how do you get 6 positions better?
Pass those 6 guys in front of me. You said it. I mean, this, like I said, this thing, when we rolled off trailer, this Australian Gold Chevy Silverado.
Mark Smith and all them guys for their motors, all 3.
Hornaday's helping you out, isn't that great?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, our Chevy Silverado, when it rolled off the trailer, it was awesome. And at the end of the day, I mean, I told the crew chief, I don't even know what to complain about it anymore. I mean, this thing's really good. Like I said, that was during the day. It's going to be night when we're racing, so hopefully this truck will be good. I think it will.
All right, last year, Matt Crafton got his first win on a 1.5 miles tonight at Texas. Now let's check in with his teammate who's with Adam Alexander.
Johnny Sauter has been on a roll. His first top 5 of 09 coming last week at Dover. Your first pole coming here yesterday. What's the biggest concern for tonight, Johnny?
Is that considered a roll? Just obviously getting through the first corner on the restart. You know, that's obviously the biggest concern right now. We got 3 really fast Chevrolets up there, 1, 2, 3. So I got my teammate behind me. I hope I don't have to worry about that. And, well, I know I don't. It's just the 33, you know, he could get aggressive on the start there. But nonetheless, just super proud of all my guys on this fun stand curb record Chevrolet. And thank God for Duke Thorson.
It should be fun to watch the start tonight, Krista.
Absolutely, Adam. You know, Sauter will be trying to impress his grandmother who lives here in the Dallas area. She is watching our speed coverage from her home. Now, along with her grandson, one of the other drivers you will be following tonight is TJ Bell. Here's a closer look at driver number 11.
I always put my right shoe and my right glove on before my left one. I don't know why. I never noticed it until someone pointed it out to me, so now I have to do it. I think it was a '92 Ford Explorer. lighten it. I lifted it up about 6 inches, big tires on it. My mom made me sell it before I even got my driver's license because she was scared I was going to flip it. Probably be Bristol. Just the aura and just everything about that place. When you walk in the tunnel and look up and see the place, it's just unbelievable. Got a lot of friends in the garage. It's a giant family, but you know, at the end of the day, if I have to go talk to somebody about something, I'm sure it'd be Ron Hornady. He's been there for me a lot. Go over to his house, have a good time, and he's helped me out no matter where we've been and no matter what situation I'm in. He's always been there to help me.
Some great insight. TJ Bell trying to join that gentleman, Brian Scott, as a new Truck Series winner. Well, the Steel Horses are getting ready to come blazing out of the chutes. Who will be the top cowboy tonight? More from Texas here on Speed. Get those cowboy boots ready, Mike Skinner. Still to come. Brought to you by Herculiner Truck Bed Liners, where the tough come easy. The sun's starting to set, and that means the action is heating up. Welcome back to the setup trucks racing at Texas Motor Speedway. You know, it was great to see a first-time winner, a new face, Brian Scott, in victory lane. I had someone ask me this week, where did Brian Scott come from? You should have seen their face when I told them it was a ski slope out west.
Starting a career in NASCAR racing is a daunting task, especially when you don't grow up around racing. And at age 19, Brian Scott decided to leave the comforts of home.
Born and raised Boise, Idaho. Idaho is a very special place in my heart and has really molded me into the person that I am. Idaho has a lot of opportunities, but racing isn't really one that's right at the forefront.
We're going to start venturing out some places so we're not tracking up the same area.
All right. NASCAR was a choice for me. The lifestyle in Idaho was more, I was bred into it. It's what my family did, and really I didn't have an option. It's kind of like you're going to learn how to ski and you're going to learn how to do this stuff where, you know, our list of family activities is going to get cut pretty short.
Brian's quest for speed moved him far away from the peaks of Idaho, and like many others, a go-kart and an education in racing landed him a spot in the Truck Series.
The number one thing wasn't doubt or concern with what I was doing, it's why are you doing this? I mean, a lot of my friends and a lot of people in Idaho weren't really educated on NASCAR. They didn't know what I was doing. And luckily, through a good group of core friends, I think everybody's kind of developed with me to learn why this sport's so exciting.
But for Brian's rookie debut, the thrills came a whole different way.
Look at this hit. There was the wall. The hit was hard. It's a little bit sore the next day, but more than anything, just really beat down on myself. I thought it was a stupid mistake that I had done. And I took one little negative and I compounded it into a whole pile of negatives.
Oh, no. Problems for Brian Scott. Hang on to it. That's getting into the wall.
After a season of frustration, Express Motorsports was forced to find chemistry. Jeff Hensley, a veteran Truck Series crew chief for Mike Skinner, was available and willing to take on the task.
Well, the first thing that I picked up on was how incredibly focused he was on racing. At Vegas, when practice started, just looking at how good a feel he had for the truck, the changes we were making, and I thought right then, I said, you know, this kid's pretty serious about it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
How was it off the tee, Hoss?
I call everybody Hoss because that's what my dad called me when I was growing up.
And I don't think we have one set nickname for each other. Just kind of whatever mood we're in.
We're probably going to end up having to put that other gear back in at Hot Rod.
You know, sexy, you know, all that kind of stuff on the radio. We just kind of keep it light. If you take yourself too serious in this business, it'll drive you crazy.
Brian Scott has been on a tear. Remember, they have crew chief Jeff Hensley joining this team since Las Vegas for the last 5 races. The team has said it was like a light switch went off automatically.
When I walked through the door, the personnel here was capable of winning. You know, maybe they just needed somebody to sort of spark that off, and I was just lucky enough to be the one to do it.
I knew before Dover that I couldn't go there and be thinking about last year.
We got there, they had the new inside wall, and Brian said, that must be the Brian Scott wall.
My biggest anxiety was the restart that we had with like 10 or 12 to go.
Ready, go, 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 go.
I know they're just on the edge of their racing shoes.
How big that truck behind you can look in your mirror when you're racing for the checkered. I swear that truck looked like his grill was right on my bumper.
Mr. Scott, you just won Dover Motor Speedway, buddy. That a going. Woo! Woo! Baby, yeah!
It feels pretty sweet this year to go back and redeem ourselves the way we did.
I think that's probably the most excited winter I've seen in a long time.
I got goosebumps right now thinking about it.
It was nice, and the beer was really cold. They were pouring on us.
And that big win at Dover was win number 9 for Express Motorsports. And Brian Scott, 2 questions. Number 1, has it sunk in? And how'd you celebrate?
Oh man, we celebrated as a team and we did it big. It was a lot of fun. It was neat to share the emotions with the whole Express Albertsons Toyota team. It was just neat. We've really come together as a team here since January, building for Daytona in February. And I really truly believe that these guys are like brothers to me. And when I won, I think we were all experiencing the same amount of emotion that I was. And that was really neat to see. And you know, it's still like cloud 9. I haven't come down off of it, and it's hard to put an experience like that and emotions like that behind you and get ready for the next week, but you got to do it. And you know, every time I see the race, I still can't believe it, so I'm not sure if it's sunk in yet.
Congratulations, you really did win. A big confidence builder for the whole 16 team, Krista.
Will it be a young Bronco like Brian Scott back in victory lane tonight, or perhaps a Grizzly veteran like that guy, Todd Bodine, wearing the Copart.com colors again this week? Bodine is a 4-time winner here. He's been to this victory lane more than anyone else in the field. You see him there with some young Bandolero drivers getting the ride around tonight. Timothy Peters in the field. Will he be wearing the cowboy hat tonight? More from the Great American Speedway on Speed straight ahead.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
NASCAR series in 3 different states this weekend. We're here in Texas, nationwide in Nashville, the Sprint Cup Series in Pocono, PA. Plenty of choices for your NASCAR appetite this weekend. Of course, we'll be with the Sprint Cup Series next week in Michigan, but before we head north, we've got to tackle the Wild West. It's time to dance, line dance that is, digging your spurs. The Texas Motor Speedway is big and it's fast, just the way NASCAR's Cowboys like it. The setup has gone to pasture. Time for the real horsepower to begin. The WinStar World Casino 400 starts now.
An opportunity to win your first race and make everything of it, it does not come often. There needs to be a whole nother word in the dictionary for it. If I miss a mark, if I miss a shift, if I spin my tires, I said he's going to be on me.
Brian Scott looks back, 3 truck lengths his advantage over Dennis Setzer.
I think right then is when it first entered my mind. I honestly have a really realistic shot at winning this thing.
Unbelievable day for Brian Scott. He's hung in there, and it's going to pay off.
My thumb was on the radio, and the only thing that I could possibly even make coherent out of my mouth was a scream of excitement. Didn't set in until the checkered flag and the victory lane celebration. It was all kind of slowly starting to set in. I don't care any victory that there is, you have to have luck. Just to have that jaw-dropping reaction on people's faces, you know. I want to do something amazing.
Big emotions from a week ago, but everything in Texas is bigger. Who will make it into victory lane today? Vic, welcome to the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series WinStar World Casino 400 on Speed. Hello everyone, another race, and it is race number 8 of the 2009 season. We come to Texas Motor Speedway, and a lot of stories out there, and to find out more about those stories, we've got to bring in the 2 men that tell us all of the stories. On pit road, it's Adam Alexander and Ray Dunlap. Adam, what is the big story that you're hearing down on pit road tonight?
Well, one guy I'm going to keep my eye on tonight, right, Rick, is Todd Bodine. He has won more races at mile-and-a-half racetracks than any other driver in Camping World Truck Series history. 9 times he has gone to victory lane, 4 of them right here at Texas. He rolls off night tonight in the Copart Toyota. Ray?
You know, Adam, we started the season a year ago with Todd Bodine winning at Daytona, then 2 wins for Kyle Busch. Ron Hornaday got 1 at 1.5 miles, and then we had 3 consecutive first-time winners. Well, how about in 2009? Todd Bodine won at Daytona. Kyle Busch got 2 in a row. Then we saw Hornaday win on 1.5 miles, and so far, Brian Scott is our first-time winner. But tonight, there's a long list of great rookies in this field that could get their next win in a row, and I think Johnny Sauter on the pole tonight is one of those guys on that list. We'll keep an eye on that 13 truck tonight here at the Big Dix's.
Johnny Sauter looking very good as he'll bring the field to the green flag tonight for the first time in his Camping World Truck Series career. This will be the 350th NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race in its long history. Let's get it kicked off. Go back trackside for tonight's Invocation.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as the 2nd Battalion, 354th Field Artillery, 95th Division presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Father Jay Atwood offers tonight's invocation.
Eternal God, Heavenly Father, we give you thanks for this great day. We give you thanks for the many blessings you have bestowed upon us and for the freedoms we celebrate in this country and the men and women who defend those freedoms every day. We give you thanks for motor racing and for the drivers, teams, sponsors, and crews, and ask for your safety and protection this night as they take the track, that they may do it to the best of their ability, and remind each of us that we do everything we do to your honor and glory. This we ask through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
And here to perform our national anthem, please welcome the winner of the Hometown Hero Contest, Nashville recording artist, Christy Kalin.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Who will win tonight at Texas Motor Speedway? Will Ron Hornaday continue the run that he has at this racetrack, or will we have another first-time winner in the 2009 season? The WinStar World Casino 400 coming up. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series on Speed is brought to you by Camping World. Visit campingworld.com for the largest selection and best values on fifth-wheel travel trailers. Brought to you in part by Toyota. For the latest Toyota racing information, visit toyotaracing.com. Toyota, moving forward. And by Royal Purple. Visit royalpurple.com to find a dealer near you. Again, welcome back to the Great American Speedway, Texas Motor Speedway. Everything is bigger in Texas. Well, the anticipation is awfully big. And if you haven't heard all of the stories, especially those from the setup earlier with Krista Voda, let's get reset up with Krista.
Thanks, Rick. Most importantly, I am not taking off this hat. I love the cowboy hat. I am keeping it on. But in serious notes, Johnny Sauter, the first time on the pole here tonight. He will lead the field to green. Ron Hornady is alongside in row 1. Also in some NASCAR news, double file restarts will now happen, first in the Sprint Cup Series, but they are expected to follow in the Nationwide and Truck Series. And as Ray Dunlap reported, that could mean some new rules for our pit stops as well. And in other news, speeds coverage, now that the summer season is here, we are about to heat up. After Texas, we go to what we call the 3Ms, Michigan, Milwaukee, and Memphis. That will be your month of June for the Camping World Truck Series on speed. And Rick, I'm way down here at Pit Out. This is where the trucks will leave the pit stall tonight. But from here, was it just me, or did our national anthem singer, the Hometown Heroes contest winner, kind of look like Danica Patrick?
It actually could have been Danica Patrick. She's here,
she's
obviously. We saw Elio Castroneves also standing with Todd Bodine and his team. So obviously we've got a lot of stars that have got their eyes on this very racetrack for this race.
Yeah, and everybody in Pocono and Nashville are also watching too. This is a huge race here for the Camping World Truck Series. Always a great show here at the Texas Motor Speedway. We had tire issues last week at Dover. Not going to have them here at Texas tonight.
You always say the setup is very key. Obviously setup key tonight.
Extremely critical. All these trucks are coil binding. Most of them on the right front, some of them on the left front. That really puts a lot of pressure on those tires, but I think Goodyear did a great job here for this racetrack. They had 60-some laps on the tires in practice.
Well, we're going to find out who wins the first race to the start-finish line when we get the green flag in the air. First of all, let's start the engines, though. We go down for tonight's command.
Jill Grimes.
On behalf of the 3,000 WinStar World Casino employees, gentlemen, start your engines.
The drivers are strapped in. The engines are now started, which means the next thing on the docket is for the green flag to fly, and that'll happen when we come back to Texas.
Brian Scott looks back, 3 truck lengths his advantage over Dennis Setzer.
I think right then is when it first entered my mind. I honestly have a really realistic shot at winning this thing.
Baby, yeah!
My thumb was on the radio, and the only thing that I could possibly even make coherent out of my mouth was a scream of excitement. Didn't set in until the checkered flag and the victory lane celebration. It was all kind of slowly starting to set in. I want to do something amazing.
Winning in any of NASCAR series is amazing, but he wants to do something else amazing. How about the WinStar World Casino 400? Finding victory lane at Texas Motor Speedway would definitely be amazing. It's a breath of fresh air to be here in Fort Worth, Texas, and actually a breath of dry air, which we haven't seen for a long time in the Camping World Truck Series. It's 84 degrees. It has been absolutely gorgeous here ever since we got here on Thursday. So the forecast is for a spectacular race. I want to take a look at our starting grid. It will roll across the bottom of the screen. Johnny Sauter driving his first ever Camping World Truck Series pole. He will start on the inside of row 1, and just outside of him will be Ron Hornady, a man who has won at this racetrack 2 separate times.
Let's take a look at our Z-Max track description. You see 1.5 miles in length, 24-degree banking in the corners, an extremely fast racetrack. As a matter of fact, we qualify faster here than we will at Daytona, a 2.5-mile racetrack. But these trucks will run early on fresh tires wide open, and then they'll start backing off a little bit. But the guys that are able to keep it wide open the longest run up front.
Let's take a look at our Valvoline race analysis. 250 miles, 167 laps. The reason for the 400 is that's because it's 400 kilometers. The purse, almost $700,000 in that pit window, 55 to 65 laps.
And obviously we still have the old pit rules, so that's for fuel, 55, 65 laps. But everyone in the garage here said we're going to have tires and fuel if it goes that long.
Here in the Camping World Truck Series, we like to spotlight a few different drivers. Tonight we're going to be focusing on Texas natives, and our first Texas native out of Plano, Texas is James Busher, right?
You know, Rick, on this facility here at Texas Motor Speedway, there are actually 5 different unique racetracks, and James Busher is one on 4 of those, on the road course, on the dirt track, on the Legends track, and the 5/8 mile. And tonight he makes his first ever start on the 1.5 miles. A lot of people in the garage area believe that his first win is right around the corner. He'll have a lot to celebrate if he wins here tonight, no doubt about it. But tomorrow night he'll be celebrating his engagement party. He is just recently engaged to his girlfriend Chris, and they'll be having a big party tomorrow night here at Texas. Adam?
And for David Starr, Houston, Texas is where he lists as his hometown, but he actually lives 6 miles from the Speedway. This team has momentum. They finished 3rd at Dover a week ago, qualified 13th for this race, but unfortunately an engine change forces David to the back here this season. Bill?
Adam, I want to take a look at 20-year-old Colin Brown. He's from Ovalo, Texas, which is about 160 miles from here. He drives the Conway Freight Ford for Jack Roush, and he was leading the last 2 races at Charlotte. He got crashed leading, and at Dover, he was leading and cut a tire down. Two great runs going for Colin Brown. Nothing to show for him. Looking to get that first victory here for the 2008 NASCAR Camping Truck Series Rookie of the Year.
We have 4 different cameras that we'll be able to ride along with different drivers. Starting 8th in the field will be Ricky Carmichael carrying one of our cameras. Back there in 13th will be the Toyota on board of David Starr. David Starr 3 times has finished 3rd in this race, but has never been to victory lane. Matt Crafton will start a little closer to the front. He starts in the 3rd spot and carries one of our cameras, as well as Chad McCumbee. He will start in the 7th position, and Chad McCumbee is itching for that first win in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Let's go back trackside to Ray Dunlap.
Well, Rick, when we talk about our final thoughts for this race, I like to look at the front rows of this field. When you look at the first 8 guys that have qualified, you see a lot of Chevrolets up there, and you see quite a few of them that have bodies that were put on from Kevin Harvick Incorporated. But you also see an awful lot of them with PME engines. The guys over there have been putting some real power into these trucks. And I think tonight, if you want to be fast at Texas, you got to have a Chevrolet. Adam?
And one of those guys up front is Ron Hornaday. He has been very, very good here at Texas over the years. Check out these numbers. Twice he's gone to victory lane, that coming in the season sweep here last season. But the most impressive number to me about the guy starting on the outside of the front row tonight, laps led, more than 400 of those, and he's in position to do it again here tonight as you see him on the front row as we get set for the green in Texas.
Ron Hornaday always great on restarts. Well, how about the start of the race? Can he beat Johnny Sauter back to the start-finish line to lead lap number 1? We're about to find out. Green flag in the air. We're underway.
As Ray said, that Pro Motor Engineering Chevrolet power propelled Johnny Sauter to a big lead.
Field spreads out as they come out of turn 2 down the backstretch, 2 and 3 wide.
Look at Dennis Sitzer making a 3 wide on the bottom.
A lot of momentum for Ron Hornaday, trying to get by that 13 for the lead. It looks as though Johnny Sauter's going to lead lap number 1 here at Texas. And the trucks bunch up behind him.
That black truck right there running 3rd, Brian Eichler. Remember, that's the 51 truck that Kyle Busch normally drives. Obviously, Kyle, with a busy weekend at Nashville and at Pocono, not able to make this event.
Dennis Setzer coming off a great finish at Dover from a week ago in the top 5. Chad McCumbee, again, so close to winning his first race at this very racetrack.
Going to drive by the 88 of Matt Crafton. A little drafting help from Todd Bodine and that Copart Toyota.
Talking about a little bit different of a paint scheme for the Copart.com Toyota Tundra of Todd Bodine next week, but we're still seeing the blue colors on that 30 tonight. Different paint scheme for Matt Crafton again this week with Australian Gold on board.
You hear very little time out of the throttle for Matt Crafton. Just eased off a little bit entering turn number 3.
Battle for 20th. David Starr falling back a spot as Taylor Malson in the 81 makes his way by.
Remember, David had to go to the back of the pack because of an engine change, along with his teammate Terry Cook, who had unimproved adjustments.
I just saw a few sparks out of the back of that 24 of David Starr. Is that because the air pressures haven't come up yet?
Yeah, exactly. It'll take a few laps to get the air pressures up. As we see Brian Scott, our most recent winner, get underneath the 6 truck of Colin Brown.
Battle for the 13th spot. Colin Brown just in front of Brian Scott, and then that's Jason White in the 23, thegunbroker.com, number 23 Dodge.
What a great run for him last week. A top 5 finish, best career finish for Jason White. Terrific job up there at Dover.
How about a great job for Colin Brown at Dover? And he has just had the most, well, bad luck I think you can lump onto one driver. He was in position to win that race at Dover when Kyle Busch blew the right front tire, and all of a sudden he does the same thing in the opposite end of the racetrack.
Yeah, on the same lap.
Yep.
Amazing.
So Colin Brown again trying to move back up into the top 10. He runs 13th now. Conway Freight Ford F-150. The field begins to spread out now. We start to see a little more single file runs there. A close call for that 24 of David Starr. He slid up, almost got into the truck in front of him.
Yeah, David got a little bit loose on the inside of another truck, but he was sure on the gas on the very initial start of the race. Remember, we reported that he went to the back of the pack because of an engine change. And David, when they threw the green flag, he was on it. Watch there. Right side of your screen.
Right up the middle. Green flag came out, and David Starr went right to the front, or at least tried to get there.
Looks like he passed a half a dozen trucks before he got to turn 1.
Yeah, heck of a job for David. That Monster Energy number 4 of Ricky Carmichael, a couple trucks behind.
This is Zachary.com Toyota right here of David Starr. Already up to the 18th position. You see it says he started 13th, but that was where he was originally going to start. He showed he had to go all the way back to the back of the pack.
One of the things that happens at a racetrack like Texas with the banking that we have here and the rules in the Camping World Truck Series where we have a tapered spacer, a lot of these guys will stay wide open as long as they can, and that's maybe 10, 15, 20 laps before the tires get to the point where they've got to get out of the gas.
Yeah, these tires, and especially with the cooler temperatures now, it's still pretty warm right now, but as the evening cools off, this racetrack will gain a lot of grip. As you can see, what a terrific record David Starr has here at this racetrack.
Take a look at Rick Crawford, the momentum moving up on the inside of that 5 of Mike Skinner, trying to take the position away. That's for the 9th spot.
Rick Crawford is one of 2 drivers that has run every one of the 22 previous races here in the Camping World Truck Series at Texas Motor Speedway. Terry Cook, the other one.
Yeah, and this is the most races at one racetrack for this series. I talked about earlier, this is the 350th race for the Camping World Truck Series.
Steve, Rick has a great record here too. 22 starts, 12 top 10 finishes, including a runner-up finish here.
His owner, Tom Mitchell, from here in the state of Texas. So one thing Rick Crawford has always said, he'd love to win for Mr. Mitchell while he's here in the state of Texas. Johnny Sauter continuing to lead here at Texas Motor Speedway, but he's got the Longhorn Chevrolet of Ron Hornady just behind him. Those two have separated themselves from the field by about 2.5 seconds. We'll be back with more green flag racing from Texas after this. Sunday on Speed, NASCAR Race Day roars into Pocono. It's a can't-miss event as Tony Stewart and Casey Kane join the Race Day crew live. Plus, get an exclusive look back into Dale Jr.'s first weekend without Tony Eury Jr. It's all part of NASCAR Race Day built by the Home Depot live tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Eastern.
You know, Mike Helton's going to be on the show to tell us about the new double file restart procedure that will be implemented at Pocono later that afternoon.
What better person to hear the rules from than the president
from the press.
Still a great battle up front here. Johnny Sauter just in front of Ron Hornady. What are they talking about, Adam, on that 13 team?
They've been talking a little bit actually about the 33, and what they said from the spotter stand is it looks like he loses the nose, referring to Hornady, when he gets right up behind you, but there's no doubt about it. The savvy veteran has been dogging Sauter in the early part of this race. There you see Rick Wren, the crew chief for Hornady, and it's interesting to point out, entering tonight's race, Johnny Sauter had led 1 lap at Texas. That was in a sprint cup race a handful of years ago. That stat has changed tonight. He has been out front the first 17 circuits.
Dropped the green flag. It was going to be, I thought, a battle to hold Ron Hornady off, but he got a great start, and Hornady hasn't really challenged him for the lead yet.
Yeah, great battle right here. That's a 4th place battle. Top Bodine, the 30. Copart.com Toyota takes over that spot from the T-Wee Chevrolet of Chad McCumbee.
Chad McCumbee dropping back a spot to the 5th position now.
There's that 88 of Matt Crafton right behind Chad. Matt's in the 6th spot right now.
You know, I mentioned bad luck with Colin Brown earlier. How about Todd Bodine's bad luck? I mean, here's a guy who's won 8 different times on mile-and-a-half racetracks, 9 different times on mile-and-a-half racetracks, and he has not been able to really finish races as of late.
Yeah, but this is one place for him to get his season back on track. He's so good at this racetrack here. 4 times he's won at this racetrack, trying to be the only guy that's ever won 5 times.
Brian Eichler in that 51. Miccosukee Toyota Tundra again subbing in for Kyle Busch, who's in Pocono right now. Ray, what are they talking about?
Not a thing, Rick. I went up to Doug George and I said, has Brian said anything? He said he hasn't said one word on the radio yet. So we really don't know much about how his truck is handling. But Eichler will be shifting back and forth between these teams across different races when we go to Michigan next week. Kyle Busch will be back in the 51. So Eichler slides over to truck number 15. I said, what's involved with doing that? He said, all they do is unbolt my seat and move it over. He said, you'd never know the difference between driving the 15 or the 51. All of this equipment at Billy Ballou's is really, really good. Adam?
And you can see coming off the corner that blue Toyota being Todd Bodine, who's trying to chase down the aforementioned Brian Eichler. He said early about his truck, talking about Bodine, the back end is getting out from underneath of him. You would not know that because in the early stages of this race, he has gone from 9th to 4th and looking for more.
Up into the top 5 for Todd Bodine. A little bit further back in the field here, Colin Brown, David Starr, and Taylor Malsom. And at 81.
It's a battle for the 15th position right there. Brian Scott actually is in the 14th spot.
Brian Scott, before the race, was telling me he thought he had a really good setup as far as race runs, but he didn't think he'd qualify very well. But he hasn't really moved up in this race. Stayed back there in the 14th spot.
Yeah, this is one of the longest races that we have on the circuit at 250 miles. As we see David Starr pull to the inside of that 6th truck of Colin Brown. Looks like he's going to be able to take that spot.
David Starr moves up now on the back bumper of Brian Scott, right?
Starr's truck is starting to come to him a little bit, but early on in this race, he was really tight coming off of the corners. So he is starting to get a little feel for that thing. And I think as the fuel burns off, his chassis is changing a little bit here at Texas. And as you guys said, nobody has more laps on this racetrack than David Starr. Now coming up to challenge Colin Brown right now is the number 81 of Taylor Malsom. And he had the exact same problem, really tight coming off the corners. And his crew chief, Doug Wolcott, told him, hang in there, buddy, just stay with it. We'll make some big adjustments here on the first round of pit stops.
Yeah, you know, Ray mentioned so many laps. David Starr has worked here as an instructor, a part of the race school here at Texas Motor Speedway for a very long time. So he has logged a lot of laps around this racetrack.
And he made another pass right there on that 16 truck of Brian Scott to take over the 14th spot.
David Starr moves up. A couple battles just in front of him that we've been watching. Jason White in the 23 is 11th.
Well, it's one thing about, you know, getting a little momentum. Jason White and that Gunbroker team have it. They had a great top 5 finish last week at Dover. And he's out there outrunning right now Mike Skinner, who has led, gosh, 458 laps here at Texas Motor Speedway, unfortunately, without ever getting a win.
Yeah. Well, as we were touching on Jason White there, it's his 30th birthday today. So Jason White, happy birthday to you, and we hope that today is the big present, maybe finding victory lane.
I was talking to Billy Blue, the owner of the 15 truck right there, the Samsung Instinct Toyota for Eric Almirola. Great to see him back in the series, as a matter of fact, and the 51 Miccosukee Toyota. This is the home headquarters for Samsung here locally in Dallas, and they said they went over to the corporate headquarters Wednesday, had a great outing, and a lot of the Samsung people are here this evening in attendance. So Eric Almirola hoping to give that Samsung truck a good ride for the Samsung folks and Billy Blue.
Those two running nose to tail right now as Eric Almirola looking to the inside of the 5 of Mike Skinner. Again, those two are battling for the 12th spot. Skinner holding it, Almirola wanting it.
Eric not quite able to get up beside Skinner through that corner. Skinner's running the high side right now, leaving the bottom for Eric Almirola. That's the nice thing about this racetrack. You have some options. You can run high if you need to, like Mike Skinner is.
One of the things we can look at this week, we've got a battle for 15th on the right, and again, a side-by-side battle there for the 12th spot on the left. But last week, I think there was a little bit of an undertone of tires were the big issue. We haven't heard any problems with tires. This is all about racing when we come to Texas Motor Speedway.
That's right. That's all about high-speed racing here at Texas Motor Speedway.
And these two haven't decided who's going to hold on to that 12th spot. As Skinner was holding on to it. Here comes Eric Almirola now. That Samsung Instinct Toyota Tundra. Does he make it to the start-finish line? No. Skinner's still leading that lap.
He just can't quite get the move. To me, it would be wiser for Mike Skinner to let Eric Almirola go, get in behind him. These two trucks would run faster, I think, if they would line up than they are right now, trading that spot back and forth.
Working together, they would be able to maybe move up toward the front, but side by side, they are staying right where they are at. A little slower truck there, the 89 on the racetrack. Nick Tucker falls back a ways, but it's Johnny Sauter who continues to dominate. He's led all 29 of our laps up to this point. He's led more laps today than he had led in the 7 previous races of 2009 combined. This Thursday wrecked is all new when a winter storm wreaks havoc on Chicago. O'Hare is left to clean up the carnage and put their own lives on the line. Wrecked, Life in the Crash Lane. Catch all new back-to-back episodes beginning at 10 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on Speed. Haven't had to say the word wrecked tonight here at this racetrack. It's been Johnny Sauter that's been out front of Ron Hornady. Now a half a second separating those two trucks.
Todd Bodine has taken over the 3rd spot. We saw him battling with Brian Eichler in the 51. Todd got that spot now. He's about 4 seconds behind our leader, Johnny Sauter, right there in the 13 truck.
Johnny Sauter and Ron Hornady, last time by, their lap times almost identical. 5/100ths of a second separated those two the last time by. There's the interval between 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah, Todd actually ran a little bit quicker that lap than did either Johnny Sauter or Ron Hornady. Once he got out by the 51 of Brian Eichler, he's had a pretty fast truck.
Clean air on the front of that Copart Toyota Tundra. So Todd Bodine trying to reel in the top 2. Back in 4th now is Brian Eichler. Again, driving the 51. Kyle Busch is in Pocono. So Brian Eichler moves over into the 51. This is his 4th start in the Camping World Truck Series. Skinner, Taylor Malsom, and Dennis Setzer all in a bunch.
It's a battle for the 13th position. Mike Skinner's gotten by Dennis Setzer to take over that 13th spot.
So Dennis Setzer dropping back. Ray, is there any story on that?
Yeah, he's not happy with the tire. He said that the thing is really chattering through the center. He told his crew chief Randy Dean. And when we went to commercial break, guys, Setzer was running 9th and now dropping back to 15th. So he's really losing a lot of positions on the racetrack. Randy told me before the race tonight that he was going with a little unconventional setup for Setzer tonight. Some things that they were trying with this truck that they wouldn't normally run at Texas. And that may be a little bit of a backfire for the MRD team right now.
He lost another spot to TJ Bell. As you can see, TJ won top 5 this year in his 7 starts.
TJ Bell has impressed me over the past 2 years. Really stepped up his, I guess, driving and the whole program when he got involved with Red Horse Racing.
He had a great 5th place finish at California Speedway, 2nd race this year. Teammates right there, Mike Skinner in the 5, Taylor Malsom in the 81.
Seems like Mike Skinner likes that high line tonight. At least we've seen him running up there. Normally you hear a driver say, well, I'm tight, and so they will run a little higher line so they don't have to try to pinch it down on the white line. How about this on the right side? Do you remember Lowe's Motor Speedway? Rick Crawford and James Buescher battling for position. We've got a caution on the racetrack. The first one coming out here on lap 41.
Looks like Brian Scotty may have a tire issue. Looks like maybe pieces of rubber coming out from under that truck. Looks, getting a report that he might have gotten into the wall. Yes, he has gotten into the wall. Right front tire probably went down to precipitate him getting in the wall, Ray.
Yeah, Phil, he'd been on the radio the last 2 laps saying he was really abusing that right front tire. And Jeff Hensley told him, just hold it out. We'll get you in here shortly and make a big air pressure adjustment. But obviously the information Brian was given, it didn't have enough time because they got into the wall. But right front problem for the 16 truck.
He's on pit road right now. There's the wall where he hit. We'll take a peek at it. Happening a little bit late. He's already up there.
Already in the wall right there. Obviously that right front tire deflated and sent him up to the top of the racetrack. Let's take a look at what Ricky Carmichael and that monster Chevrolet saw. Watch. You see Brian, he felt the tire going down. He moved up the racetrack, just couldn't keep it out of the outside wall. But Ricky does a nice job of avoiding Brian Scott.
So the Albertsons Toyota Tundra is going to come off of pit road. Brian Scott, last week's winner at Dover, the Monster Mile, and it looks like Texas Motor Speedway might be a little bit bigger of a challenge for that Albertsons truck. We'll be back with more of the WinStar World Casino 400 after this.
At Texas Motor Speedway, a round of pit stops going on, and we did a classic double dip here where the drivers on my end came in for tires on their first round. Most everybody on my end of pit road put on 4 tires. Then they all came back to stuff in some fuel here. Adam, what happened on your end of pit road?
And that was exactly what happened at the lead in of pit road, but we did have a lead change, and I'm talking about Ron Hornady Jr., who took 4 tires on his first trip. They made an air pressure adjustment on the left side. He was tight. He wins the battle off the pit lane. He's the leader, and Todd Bodine picks up a couple of positions. He is running second as we speak. The big loser, Johnny Sauter.
Yeah, Johnny Sauter came off of pit road 6 the first time they were on pit road. It was Brian Eichler and Ron Hornady with good pit stops that got them off out front. We'll be back for the restart after this. Tomorrow, Speed presents the Rolex Sports Car Series, 6 hours at the Glen. To claim victory there, man and machine must endure treacherous twists and turns. Don't miss the Rolex Sports Car Series live from Watkins Glen tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, only on Speed. A clear sky over Texas Motor Speedway. Let's go back to pit road and Adam Alexander.
And we talked about Johnny Sauter and the issues on pit road. He came in the race leader after leading every lap prior to the caution, but unfortunately on that first trip down pit lane at lap 42, they had some problems, lost a number of positions. Jason Overstreet, the crew chief, has already called the guys together and told them they need to make it happen when Johnny comes down pit road. We'll see if they make improvements. The 13 that had led every lap will restart 9th, Ray.
His teammate, Matt Crafton, had a real good round of pit stops. They put air pressure up on the right rear and down on both lefts. Matt Crafton saying having a little bit of trouble rolling through the corner, but hatefully responding with adjustments down here. Crafton will restart this race all the way up in 3rd.
Now, we heard some of the crew chiefs as we get ready for the green flag to fly, talking about tire wear. Green flag back in the air for Ron Hornady and Todd Bodine. That was the longest green flag stretch to start a race here at Texas since 2003, and they went 54 laps here caution-free. So we went quite a few laps, 42 laps before the caution flew.
Yeah, that was a pretty good run, pretty good indicator of what these guys are going to have with these trucks. And we overheard Rick Wren telling Ron Hornady we saw a little bit of cords, a little bit of fabric on the inside of the right front. He said, but that will get better like it did last year as they put more rubber down on this racetrack.
Hornady, Todd Bodine, 1 and 2. Right behind them, it's Matt Crafton. In the 51 or the 5 of Mike Skinner. Johnny Benson running 5th. Brian Eichler's dropped back to 6th. TJ Bell, Johnny Sauter, Rick Crawford, and Colin Brown are your top 10.
Yeah, great pit work by Mike Skinner's bunch to get him out where they did. Remember, saw Mike battling back for about the 13th, 15th position.
Yep. So pit strategy and quick work on pit road got some positions for Mike Skinner. Let's see if he can hold on to him. Starting to see Colin Brown and that Conway Freight Ford F-150 make his way toward the front.
Got a nice run off that corner from the high side. He was able to keep that truck wound up and was able to get by a couple trucks, Rick Crawford being one of them, and looked like maybe TJ Bell the other.
Early in this run, it's a little odd to hear someone feathering the throttle like we're hearing with David Starr right now as we ride along with him. He has to get out of the gas. And again, we're only 3 or 4 laps into this green flag run.
Yeah, a lot of traffic. When you have some dirty air, a lot of the trucks disturbing the air, that will make a little bit of difference. But for the truck out front like Ron Hornady, maybe not exactly the same situation. He may be able to hold that thing down because he doesn't have that dirty air in front of him.
David Starr able to clear the front end of that 14 of Rick Crawford. So Starr moves up into the 10th spot. Crawford back to 11th. Taylor Mawson running 12th. At 17, the Strutmasters.com Toyota Tundra. Just in front of Chad McCumbee.
Strutmasters on board for the rest of the year. Timothy Peters said they had Dickey's Barbecue come on board here for this one race, and he wanted to make sure that we told them how much he appreciated them being out here to help this Strutmasters.com Toyota get to this race.
Great story. Timothy Peters starting their shop out of a garage right there attached to the house. Have made the most of that, and they're racing here in Texas. Johnny Sauter's already gained 3 spots in the 4 laps of green flag racing. So he's got a strong truck. Just a problem on pit road, mired him back a few. Ricky Carmichael currently running 16.
Right with you, looking inside.
Andy Houston, spotter for Ricky Carmichael, talking about Eric Almirola. Ooh, look at Chad McCumbee. Saw some sparks, and then he chased the truck up the hill.
Still inside.
Yeah, that Tiwi 07 of Chad McCumbee had to hang on to that thing as he came out of turn number 2.
But when you have a problem down in one end of the racetrack and then you get down to the other end of the racetrack, you say, what's going to happen when I get here? So you're a little bit tentative when you get down there.
Adam Alexander.
And Chad had just come on the radio and said it's bottoming out on the left side extremely loose. So they've got issues with the 07. Tough break for a race team that had a great qualifying spot, had stayed in the top 10, and now finds themselves in the 19th position, just over 50 laps in.
Take another look at this, Phil.
Yeah, this is Chad McCumbee outside the 23 of Jason White. You could see the sparks, and that's when the truck bottoms out really hard. And you could see that splitter hitting the racetrack, and that splitter is solid. That's not like a Nationwide car that has a metal splitter or plastic splitter or balance that will rub away. That will, when you hit that, you know you hit it, and it just stops that wheel from traveling. And you slide up the racetrack.
There's Brian Scott and the Albertsons, number 16. Again, Brian being scored 1 lap down. He's actually the first truck a lap down. So if a caution were to come out, he would be the recipient of the Aaron's lucky dog, like James Busher was from this last caution.
First and only truck 1 lap down. So right now Brian Scott's looking pretty good if we can catch another caution flag anytime soon. And that's the thing, you want to get that caution flag obviously and get the Aaron's lucky dog, but you want to get it as soon as you can, because you want to be able to overcome the track position that you will lose, because he will have to restart from the tail end of the longest line when he gets the lucky dog. Good battle right there. Johnny Benson, our defending champion in the 1 truck, getting by the 51 of Brian Eichler. That is a battle for the 6th spot.
So Johnny Benson in front of Brian Eichler in a 51. Oh, he's got to catch it a little bit. Ray, how are they doing in that team?
Well, Rick, you know, you can learn a lot down here in the pits when you listen to the radios. Brian Eichler sent some information back to Doug George, and he said, man, whenever you freed this thing up, it's really fast. But the way he said it was, man, you guys loosened this thing up, and it's really fast. So I think it was communication, but I'll tell you, it's because he has got his hands full. The truck is much faster, but it's certainly a lot freer.
I find myself going up a couple octaves when I get into a tight situation. Here's Ron Hornady. He's back out in front, trying to make it 3 wins in a row at Texas Motor Speedway. I tell you what, he's going to have to battle with that 13, though, because Johnny Sauter is continuing to move back up. He's already up into 4th after just 9 green flag laps.
You can see right now Johnny Sauter restarted this race in the 9th position, already passed 5 really good trucks at him.
And he just came on the radio. Johnny did and said, how many laps has it been since we went back to green? I think almost surprised at how quickly he has been able to come through the field. Jason Overstreet, the crew chief, reminded him, take care of your equipment. And the guy he just went around for that 4th position is Mike Skinner. He was mired outside the top 12 in the early portion of this race. A tight race truck. They took a pretty big swing at it on that pit stop with a track bar adjustment. We'll see if Skinner, who was 2nd in the championship standings entering this race, can make up any ground.
Out in front of the field, it's the 33 of Ron Hornady, looking to add to his 40 wins that he has. And you see Matt Crafton.
He took over that 2nd spot from Ty Bodine just a lap ago. So Matt Crafton right now on the move.
Crafton running in the 2nd spot to Ron Hornady. Back out in front at Texas, driving that Longhorn Chevy Silverado for Kevin Harvick Incorporated. Side-by-side racing when you come to the Great American Speedway. That's exactly what we're expecting to see when we come to the checkered flag. A lot of racing in between, though, here for the Camping World Truck Series. Make it a weekend of fun with the family and friends. At Michigan International Speedway, Sprint Cup tickets start at just $40. And kids 12 and under, well, they're free. Call 800-354-1010 or log on to MISSpeedway.com for the June 14th LifeLock 400 at Michigan International Speedway.
And remember, we're going to have double file restarts with the lead cars up front in that LifeLock 400, for sure.
That's right, double file restarts. Take a look at Ron Hornaday continuing to lead. It's been 2 drivers that have been out front today. Ron Hornaday and the 13 of Johnny Sauter. Let's go a little bit deeper in the field. We'll start with Adam Alexander.
And how about Rick Crawford riding in the 11th position? You know, this is a team that has had their woes so far in 2009, and he just lost the 11th position to Timothy Peters, as you see on track. But Crawford feels like this could be a turnaround race, a place where he's had a great deal of success, and they felt like they were better last week than what they were able to get as far as a result. And then you've got Timothy Peters. As we said, he just went up to the 11th position. They finished inside the top 15 in the first 3 races of the year. They've not been back there since. Perhaps tonight is the night, a place where he really likes to race in Texas. Riding in the 13th position behind these 2 guys, Eric Almirola, making his first Truck Series start of 2009. The report for him in the 15 prior to the caution coming out was tight. I just talked to crew chief Ricky Waters. He said they made an air pressure adjustment and a track bar adjustment. They feel good about where it's going, but need to go a little bit further. He's still too tight. And then there's Ricky Carmichael. He's not been in the 4 truck in the last 2 races. He told me before the race, I just want to finish. He's had his issues of late. So far, so good. He was running outside the top 20 just 20 laps ago, Ray.
Adam, when we get back to 15th position, you see that 51 of Brian Eichler. They were 4th on the starting grid today. Had a little hold up here in the pit area. They were having trouble getting the gasoline in the truck on that second round of pit stops. That has dropped him a little deeper into the field. Now the 23 having a very good run. That is Jason White. And how about that run they had at Dover? Getting a top 5 finish, and the gunbroker.com team very, very happy. The truck that he has tonight here at Texas is called Bullet, and it's another good run for White. When we go back to 17th place, you're going to see Stacy Compton back there. Now, Stacy Compton takes all of the information that they learned at Dover because the driver made a mistake. He tried to go to the inside of Dennis Setzer and lost about 7 positions on the closing laps of that race. And Stacy Compton said that's something that you just have to learn from track to track. Now, right behind him is Dennis Setzer. And of course, as I talked about his truck earlier, they were having terrible troubles with him getting through the corner, through the center, and coming off. So they've worked on that round of pit stops. And coming up behind him, the number 07 of Chad McCumbee. For more on him, back to Adam.
And we documented a moment ago, Ray, about the fact his truck was very loose. He dropped from a position inside the top 10 back to 19th. He has been quiet on the radio since, and this is a perfect example of how important track position is. He was solid in the top 10. Now that he has lost that track position, he's struggling in the back part of the top 20.
Let's go to 20th position, Adam. That would be the number 73 of J.J. Yaley. And lots of fans have been writing in and saying, where is J.J.? Well, he's back in Camping World Truck Series Racing. He is working with a group of guys here who are just bought some equipment. All of these trucks came from Orleans Racing and Brendan Gaughan. They're learning about these trucks and learning about the tracks. They're building a brand new program. And at the head of this program is Joey Sontag, who, of course, is from Texas.
See the 25 truck of Terry Cook right there on the inside of J.J. Yaley. They had a nice outing at the corporate headquarters for Cajun Industries. That was Baton Rouge, Louisiana on Wednesday. And they have an honorary crew chief here. Robert Lively was their safety award winner, their first safety award winner. And he is the honorary crew chief on the pit box up beside Danny Rollins. They also have the deck lid signed by everybody in attendance at that picnic they had at the corporate headquarters on Wednesday. So a lot of fans pulling for that 25 truck and Terry Cook. Taylor Molson, what a job he has done. Started back in the 24th position, already moved up to the 9th spot. Great job by this rookie, Taylor Molson. Continues to impress each and every week. Always gets top 15 finishes. This is a guy that's on the move.
Driving for Randy Moss Motorsports, as well as his teammate, the 5 of Mike Skinner, who right now is running in the 6th spot. But out in front of the field, it's Ron Hornaday. We've completed 74 laps of the 167 scheduled, and it's been either Johnny Sauter or Ron Hornaday leading the field.
The Advance Auto Parts Advance Look. Next week, the trucks go roaring into the Motor City. Is there any way to top last year's finish?
Johnny Benson looking to the inside. It's door to door as they come to the start-finish line. They were almost identical across the start-finish line.
Don't miss any of the action starting with the setup at 1:30, live on Speed. Be there.
Next 3 races here on Speed. June 13th at MIS. See if we can have another great finish there. Milwaukee Mile, where Johnny Benson has shined, and Memphis Motorsports Park, 27.
Stay with us all month right here on Speed for a lot of Camping World Truck Series action. I don't know how we would top that finish of last year in Michigan. We're going to try though next week.
Pretty amazing. This is a bad sign for Brian Scott as Ron Hornady has caught up to the back of the field now. It goes by J.J. Yaley. He's already put James Busher a lap down. So Brian Scott now is in 23rd, and he is the 3rd truck that is a lap down. So he would not receive the Aaron's lucky dog if the caution were to come out. Right now it would go to J.J. Yaley. So Ron Hornady continuing to dominate. This is his 5th straight race at Texas that he has led 35 or more laps. Amazing.
That is domination. As we talked about earlier, he swept the races last year here. Matt Crafton had been able to stay within about a half a second of Hornady, but when they got in this traffic starting lapping these trucks, he's lost a little bit of ground now. He's being shown about 9/10 of a second behind Ron Hornady.
Back in 3rd, Todd Bodine in the Copart number 30.
Todd wanted me to mention that Jay Adair, the president of Copart.com, is here along with his family. First race that he's ever been to, and I love the fact that Copart came in the sport in a big way.
They have not only sponsoring Ron Hornady at one point in time, but Todd Bodine, and also talking about races. So Copart, welcome to the Camping World Truck Series. How about the 33 of Ron Hornady running extremely strong out in front, Adam?
And you would think all smiles, but think again. Ron Hornady complaining on the radio. He was tight on that first run of the night. They made an air pressure adjustment on the left side. He said, we have got to go back. I've got no grip. So Rick Wren said, we will. We'll go back on air pressure, and I also want to make an adjustment to help the handling of that 33, Ray.
Adam, down on my end, the Max Force International Diesel Ford is in. That's James Busher. Remember, earlier in the race, he was able to get the lucky dog, but this truck has just not been performing well, and he said he felt like they were about to wreck it. A vibration in the right front, so Jamie Jones said, come in, we'll put 4 tires on it and see if that fixes the problem.
That's a good heads-up call by that young driver. There's no sense staying out there with the thing ill driving like it was, and if you picked up a vibration, normally that vibration doesn't go away.
We've been impressed with James Busher, just 19 years old now out of Plano, Texas. Again, ARCA Series winner, a couple different races there. Now has made the move up into the Camping World Truck Series.
He's going to run a handful of ARCA Remax races the rest of the year. Actually, he's going to run next week at Michigan in that same 32 car that he's won in twice this year.
Phil, we've gotten to halfway awfully quick. Our leader right now, Ron Hornady. There's only been 2 different trucks that have been out front and 1 lead change, and that happened when our first caution came out at lap 41. We've had 1 caution. There are 19 trucks still on the lead lap, and the interval now is increasing to 8.7 or 0.87 seconds between first and second, which has been a lot tighter throughout this race. There you see Colin Brown to the inside of Mike Skinner. Colin Brown trying to get by Skinner for the 6th spot on the racetrack. Looks like he will do that when they went across the start-finish line. Skinner continuing to run that high line here at Texas.
But I think his truck is definitely better than it was on the first run. Remember, he was falling back pretty much outside the top 15 on that first run, and he's been able to maintain a top 10 run here. Lost that 6th spot to Colin Brown just now.
Battle for 8th. David Starr, Taylor Malsom. Malsom also running that higher line now as we see David Starr move up there.
And these are a couple of guys that started way back. And remember, David Starr had to go to the back of the pack at the start because of an engine change, and Taylor Malsom started back on the 24th spot.
Trying to work his way back up to the front. Again, only 1 caution has flown. It was on lap 41, and that was when the 16 of Brian Scott got into the wall in turn number 2 Other than that, we've been caution-free. And Ron Hornaday has put on a clinic here at Texas Motor Speedway again.
We saw the 10 of James Busher come down pit road for that tire change. When he left the pits, he went above the blend line, and that is a no-no. That necessitated another penalty and another pit stop for James Busher. He went above that white line when he left the pits, and you cannot do that. You can see him this time staying below it.
There's David Starr, Taylor Malson. Those two running 8th and 9th on the racetrack.
I saw David Starr Jr. in the pits.
That's right.
David's young son, wife Kim, first time that David Starr Jr. has been to a racetrack.
Yeah, pretty exciting for that family, that young family. Trying to reel in that 5 of Mike Skinner. Adam, what's going on with Skinner?
He just came on the radio and said the right front tire does not feel good at all. Eric Phillips, his crew chief, who won here with a Nationwide Series car, and Joe Nemechek, and also helped take Clint Boyer to victory lane in the Truck Series, said baby him, take care of him, and that's what Mike is doing. But unfortunately, to do that, he may lose some track position. David Starr pouncing right now, right behind him, Taylor Malson, and then you've got the 11 of TJ Bell, who currently rides in the 10th position. You talk about a tale of two seasons. This team didn't finish outside the top 12 in the first 3 races. They've not been back inside the top 15 since. They felt like tonight was an opportunity to get it going in the right direction. Unfortunately, TJ says his truck extremely loose at this stage of the race.
Again, teammates running nose to tail. Taylor Malson and Mike Skinner battling for position on the racetrack, both driving for Randy Moss Motorsports.
We've run about the same amount of laps that we ran the first time around. We ran about 41 or 42 laps before the caution flag came out. Now we've run about 44 laps on this run, so these guys have got similar type runs here, so we know what their tires look like after the first pit stop.
So the battling continues on the racetrack. TJ Bell, Mike Skinner trying to settle it for that position. Want to mention Andrea Little and Scott Little. Scott Little, one of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series officials. His wife was involved in an accident this morning, and so he got on a plane right away to go take care of her. So our thoughts and wishes go out to the Little family. Hopefully Andrea healing well today. Welcome back. Here comes Ron Hornaday, race leader on the pit road. Green flag pit stops taking place at Texas Motor Speedway.
Remember, we can't put fuel and tires on in the same pit stop.
Here they come, Adam.
And one of the big concerns for Rick Wren, the crew chief for Ron Hornaday, prior to today's race, they weren't getting the same amount of fuel mileage some of the other teams were, so in a green flag condition, they would have to come early, and that's exactly what's happening. Ricky Carmichael, his teammate, putting fuel, while Hornaday will go with tires here. Right side's going on. They made an air pressure adjustment, and I would guess they will also make a chassis adjustment when he comes back for fuel. Left side tires going on. This stop happening at lap 98 for the race leader.
All the way, always.
Matt Crafton gets credit for leading a lap, and he comes into his pit stall, right?
But Hafele told him fuel only on this pit stop. Crafton said, what about tires? He said, our tires looked okay last time. We'll get back to the racetrack and hope for caution. So the Australian Gold crew is pumping that thing full of gas, making sure they get it all in there. The catch can man says we're good, and Crafton goes back to the racetrack.
You know, Phil, here's where strategy really comes into play with these new rules. He can go back out there and run for as many laps as the fuel's going to hold on if they think those tires can hold up for this long of a run.
Yeah, that's the key. There's Johnny Sauter on pit road, Adam.
He was running in the top 5. He comes down pit road, and just like Ron Hornaday, who came down a couple of laps ago, he will get 4 tires, which is an indication he will definitely come back for fuel. His service coming at lap 100. Mike Skinner was also on pit road, and as those guys exit, here comes that Longhorn Chevrolet of Ron Hornaday. He got his tires last time. This time they will fill it up with fuel. Hornaday getting his service under green at lap 99 and 100.
18 gallons of Sunoco fuel going into the Longhorn Chevy Silverado of Ron Hornaday. Again, he was your race leader when the green flag pit stops started. And again, in this series, you cannot put tires on the truck and add fuel on the same stop. So they have to make at least 2 stops to do a complete service of these vehicles.
Matt Crafton, there's our leader right there. Todd Bodine has not made a pit stop yet. Matt Crafton is back on pit road. Didn't last long without those tires, did it?
Crafton decided to come back in, get the 4 fresh tires, as we see Johnny Benson making his way off of pit road. Mike Skinner comes on to pit road. There goes the 88 of Matt Crafton coming back off. Brian Eichler's on. James Busher going off, and here comes the 13 of Johnny Sauter.
Johnny Sauter making his second pit stop.
It's going to be fuel here, Phil. They just put on tires last time. Right behind him on the pit lane, TJ Bell. He's on a similar strategy. Both these drivers running in the top 10 as we began this cycle of green flag pit stops. Mike Skinner has also come back down for fuel, Ray.
Tires are on for the Conway Ford for Colin Brown. He gets away, and boy, it is very, very tight down here on this end of pit road as these guys come in getting different things. We also see a number of different trucks coming in on my end of pit road. The 16 is back down here. Dennis Setzer getting tires. Lots of action on pit road.
Yeah, the 81 just making his way off of pit road. Here comes Todd Bodine. He had grabbed the lead after staying out on the racetrack, but now makes his way onto pit road, as does Ricky Carmichael in the number 4. He comes in a little bit later. Samsung Instinct, number 15 of Eric Almirola, almost having to make his way into the grass to avoid collision.
That's the 73 of J.J. Yale he had to avoid. You see Todd Bodine, our leader, on pit road. Fuel going in this time, Adam.
And you know what, Phil? They have really stretched it here, coming in at lap 103, now 104 as they make their stop. I would say they're going to be really close to not having to come back for fuel again in this race. Fuel is all they get here, and now Ron Hornady making a pass-through penalty. I believe the reason for that is because a tire got away when they came down at lap 98, and indeed that is the case. A penalty for Ron Hornady, who was the race leader when this cycle of green flag pit stops began.
Ron Hornady has led 55 laps, right?
Track bar adjustment for the Conway Ford and fuel for Colin Brown that time. Mark that down at lap 104. And they were talking about his truck being very, very tight in the center. Track bar adjustment should certainly help that as they raise the track bar. That should loosen him up, guys.
Rick Crawford out in front of the field now. You see him on the left side of your screen, and then Terry Cook now on the right side of your screen on pit road.
I think Rick Crawford has only made one pit stop right now, as you see Matt Crafton going around the outside of Rick.
Matt Crafton battling for the lead. That's a race for the top spot. Across the start-finish line, Crafton has the edge now. He's moving up.
Remember, Rick Crawford only made one pit stop.
Right.
Matt Crafton has made both his pit stops for tires and fuel.
That's right. We only have right now 5 trucks on the lead lap. So actually, Matt Crafton is a lap down. And now we see Brian Eichler on pit road in the 51. So Bodine, Crawford, Taylor Malsom, Stacy Compton, and Jason White, the only 5 trucks on the lead lap right now. They have not continued to do their cycle through of the pit stops.
We've had a lot of pit stops, though.
Yeah, we sure have. A lot of people on pit road doing different agendas. But for right now, it's Todd Bodine, Crawford, Malsom, Compton, and White that are still on the racetrack.
Todd's coming back in now to get those tires.
So Todd Bodine makes his way onto pit road. He will give the lead back up to Rick Crawford. Adam Alexander.
I just asked Mike Hillman Jr., the crew chief, are you good on fuel? He said, yes, we are. But at a racetrack like this, you can't mess with tires. And he was reminded from the spotter stand with Todd Bodine, they're getting a lot of guys for speeding on pit road. Don't throw it away here. Bodine comes to a stop. Mike Hillman Jr., who is the crew chief, also changes the front tires. He is getting a workout tonight, and his whole crew being challenged under green. No changes for the Copart Toyota. He will get his 4 tires and pull away. This service happening at lap 107.
Go, all clear, all clear.
Phil, when you have to come onto pit road, you double the opportunity of penalties, and that's exactly what we're hearing is happening with the 51 of Brian Eichler. He had problems on pit road. He'll have to serve a penalty.
How about that 3 wide situation right there? Jason White, the 23, getting by the 60, as well as the 6 of Colin Brown.
Crawford, Malsom, Jason White, Stacy Compton, and Todd Bodine on the lead lap, as is Matt Crafton now. So he is scored on the lead lap as well. Ray Dunlap.
Too fast for speeding on the 51, so he'll serve a pass-through penalty just like Hornaday's. As you see him coming to pit road right now, that'll be a tough break for them. They've fought this truck on 2 different ends of the racetrack tonight, and obviously this is a learning experience each and every week as these young drivers figure out the ins and outs of Truck Series racing.
Ray, as you guys talked about in our setup show, when the Camping World Truck Series goes to the double file restarts, it may bring about a difference on pit road, different rule changes on pit road. Adam, what's going on with Todd Bodine?
He just came on the radio and asked the crew, did you get all the tires tied, all the lug nuts? Because I have a vibration. He said it's all the way around, so it could be a wait, but be ready. So we'll wait and see what happens with Todd Bodine, but after that cycle of stops, he is reporting a vibration in the truck.
Todd, right now that is a battle to stay on the lead lap because Rick Crawford is their leader. Rick has only made 1 pit stop. Todd has made both his pit stops, so he now is back on the lead lap, and he becomes one of 6 trucks right now on the lead lap.
Todd Bodine at the tail end of the lead lap, just in front of race leader Rick Crawford. Again, Tom Mitchell, team owner for the 14 and the 10 team from right here in Texas. WinStar World Casino 400. There's your top 5. Again, only 6 trucks on the lead lap here at Texas Motor Speedway. Pit strategy has played a big role. Let's see if they can hang on. Coverage of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series on Speed is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. Keep the wheels turning. By Toro. Count on it. And by Neutrogena. New Neutrogena Ultimate Sport, the best line of sports sunblock.
Well, we have a couple more trucks now on the lead lap. Johnny Sauter, the 13, and the 1 of Johnny Benson, both got by Rick Crawford. And what a action-packed straightaway that was here just a few moments ago. Watch this now. They're going to split Rick Crawford. He's leading.
Right through the quad over here at Texas. Johnny Benson to the inside, Johnny Sauter to the outside, and Rick Crawford, your race leader, was right in the middle. Again, Crawford is leading, but remember what we've got is Crawford, Jason White, Taylor Malson, and Stacy Compton came in for just fuel, so they did not make 2 stops like the rest of the field has.
And boy, would they dearly love to see a caution flag about now.
Yes, they would. That would mean we would have 9 trucks on the lead lap. Right now, Colin Brown is scored 1 lap down, and he is running in the 9th spot.
Another good run for Jason White. We know that he only made 1 pit stop here on the green. He did fuel only, has not put tires on that truck, but nonetheless, he had a very competitive truck here. And if he could catch a caution flag as we watch the 3rd place truck of Taylor Malson, they're in good shape for a great finish.
Yeah, great conditions right now for Taylor Malson, Jason White, and of course Rick Crawford, who's out in front of this field. James Busher on the high side. Ron Hornady, who was so dominant early in this race, led 55 laps in the first 90. And now Ron Hornady mired a lap back, running in the 11th spot.
A mistake on pit road is what put him in this situation where he is a lap down. He is not that far behind our leader, Rick Crawford, and running a lot faster because of those new tires he has on there that Rick Crawford does not have.
Right now, Ron Hornady needs to catch up to Colin Brown, who's 1 lap down. He's actually the highest scored truck a lap down. So Hornady needs to get up there to get that Aaron's lucky dog. Again, we've only had 1 caution this entire race. We've completed 120 laps, only 47 laps remaining, and just 1 time have we been slowed because of an incident on the racetrack.
Great battle right here, right of your screen. That's a battle for the 7th position. Johnny Benson, the 1 truck. Johnny Sauter, the 13. Johnny Sauter took it away from Johnny Benson just a lap or so ago. Johnny Benson took it back. Now we have another truck on the lead lap. Colin Brown has been able to get by the 14 of Rick Crawford. He becomes the 9th truck on the lead lap.
And that puts that 24 of David Starr now in position for the Aaron's lucky dog if a caution were to come out. So now that position that...
And there it is, right there, Rick.
We hear it now. The caution comes out for debris in turn number 1. That means David Starr will get his lap back, and Ron Hornady will be the first truck 1 lap down.
Yeah, and he will not get his lap back on this caution flag. So that's huge for Ron Hornady,
who has been so dominant tonight. We have had 4 different trucks, actually 5 different trucks that have been out in front. It's been Hornady, Johnny Sauter, the 2 dominant trucks. Rick Crawford has led 15 laps. He is your race leader here at Texas Motor Speedway. Can Rick Crawford find victory lane in a state that he oh so would love to see? That victory lane and the celebration, get the cap, the cowboy hat that they give out here as the trophy. Rick Crawford said he'd drive his race truck straight to the farm, straight to the ranch where Tom Mitchell is here in Texas to celebrate with him. So Rick Crawford, Jason White, 1 and 2, Taylor Malsom, Stacy Compton, 3 and 4, Crafton on the lead lap. In 5th, Todd Bodine, Johnny Benson, Johnny Sauter, and Colin Brown all on the lead lap. And we believe that the Aaron's Lucky Dog is going to go to the 24 of David Starr. So that will put 10 trucks on the lead lap. Sure enough.
You know Michael would be happy in Pocono.
They just give things away.
Aaron's is giving some more stuff away.
And we know Michael's watching. So Michael, thanks obviously for allowing us to chuckle a little bit there. Again, the story was trucks that stayed out on the racetrack only coming onto pit road 1 time. And that was Crawford, White, Malsom, and Compton. And so those 4 trucks are running in your top 4. We would expect to see them on pit road now.
We're going to see everybody on pit road right now. Everybody's going to come down to pit road because with the exception of possibly Todd Bodine, we don't think anybody can make it on fuel. So everybody is coming down pit road here.
Pace truck caught up to the field, and now they make the hard left turn onto pit road. So the 3rd time they have been on pit road this evening, and they're led by Rick Crawford. Let's go down to pit road and Adam Alexander.
Rick, I'm going to start on my end because Taylor Malsom, one of the first to come in. There was some sort of problem with his carburetor, and he revved it up a little bit, says it may have gotten better. They're going to put 4 tires on here. Right in front of him, the 60 truck got some fuel and went away. They'll come back next time by to get tires. Now to Adam.
And it's going to be Rick Crawford who comes down for 4 tires here. Remember, he did not take tires at that cycle of green flag stops. Fuel only at lap 103. After this stop for tires, he will come back for fuel.
That 30 truck of Todd Bodine is getting his tires. Will he stay on the racetrack and not come in the 2nd time for his fuel? He is the one truck that I think might possibly be able to make it all the way.
Phil, let me ask you the question with Rick Crawford pertaining to their situation. Now, he came down for fuel. This caution has come out. Could they come in and maybe just do 1 can of fuel and be able to get right back off of pit road?
Oh, absolutely, yes. He will spend a minimal time on pit road, but I think he will have to come down pit road to get a little bit of fuel anyway, where I'm not sure Todd Bodine, he may roll a dice, stay out, get that track position.
43 laps remaining in this race. 167 laps, 250 miles, 400 kilometers. Rick Crawford looking to find victory lane once again in his career. He's done it a few times, to be exact, 5. His last win came in 2006 at ORP. Let's go back down to pit road and Ray Dunlap.
Well, 2 differing strategies down here. The 81 needs to get fuel. They're putting tires on the 60, so they told Taylor Malsom to be ready. He'll go out ahead of that 60 for sure. They get the gas in it. The guys push him away. He'll lead. The Safe Auto Toyota gets tires on it on my end. Now back to Adam.
And Rick Crawford comes down. Crew Chief Cowboy Starlin said, give me 1 can of fuel. They pull a tear off the windshield. His service is going to be complete, and he will pull away, and we'll see how it cycles out as far as track position is concerned. I can tell you Todd Bodine did not come back down pit road. They are good to go.
Tell you what, there was a little contact made there between the 33 of Ron Hornady, and it looked like Brian Eichler in that 51.
Adam, not only Todd Bodine in that 30 truck, but the 6 of Colin Brown. Those 2 guys are rolling the dice.
Can they make it? 42 laps remain at Texas Motor Speedway, the great American Speedway. The fans are in for a great show here tonight. Welcome back. Green flag back in the air at Texas Motor Speedway. The battle between Bodine and Brown. Brown out on the outside. Bodine trying to get by in the 30 truck.
Skinner trying to get back on the lead lap. He is on the tail end of the lead lap right now.
Side-by-side battle. Hornady battling to try to get that lucky dog. He again is a lap down. We only have 11 trucks on the lead lap.
And that includes Mike Skinner, who is out in front of our leader, Todd Bodine.
Mike Skinner trying to hold on to that position. Todd Bodine, your race leader. The master at 1.5 mile racetracks. Can he do it again? Just 39 laps to go.
He does get by the 5 of Mike Skinner. Hornady has to get by that 5 of Mike Skinner. He'd like to get by the 30 of Bodine, because if he can get in front of Bodine and the caution comes out, he's not the lucky dog. He doesn't have to start from the tail end of the longest line.
He would automatically be on the lead lap, be able to go around the racetrack, tack on behind the lead trucks. But right now he is battling to try to get that position back. Again, out front, it's Todd Bodine, then Colin Brown, Johnny Benson, Matt Crafton.
Johnny Benson just took over the second spot from Colin Brown. That one truck. Here comes Matt Crafton trying to take over third.
Diving into turn number 1. Those two continuing to battle on the racetrack.
Matt got a little bit loose.
Look at Todd Bodine jetting way down the racetrack, down the backstretch.
Just trying to make sure that Hornady cannot use the draft off him. Crafton's going to pull to the inside of Colin Brown again in a battle for third.
All the way out now. Leave him out the dry down.
Side by side. Crafton on the inside. Colin Brown on the outside. Here comes the 14 of Rick Crawford. Crawford's going to throw his name in the hat once again.
And there's Johnny Sauter, our pole sitter, early leader, right behind Rick Crawford.
Johnny Sauter early on in this race led the first 42 laps before the caution came out. And then it was handed over to Ron Hornady, who dominated for 55 laps. And then Crawford took over for a while. 17 laps led.
Really nice right there. Really, really nice. Quick work when we get there on this boy.
Adam Alexander, we're talking a lot about Johnny Sauter. How's he feeling?
Well, and you got to give an attaboy to that crew, because they made a mistake on pit road in their first stop. They have rallied back and done a pretty good job since that time, keeping Johnny in good competition for a spot in the top 5. It would be his second consecutive trip as far as a finish in the top 5 is concerned. And what about ThorSport Racing as a whole? 5th and 6th last week at Dover. We talk about Johnny Sauter riding 6th and his teammate Crafton in 3rd. It's been a good couple of weeks.
Sure has. Todd Bodine able to pull about a second ahead of Johnny Benson, riding a little over a second. There's David Starr, Jason White. That is a battle for lead lap positions. David Starr right now running 8th, Jason White 9th.
Taylor Malsom in the 10th spot. Again, we have 10 trucks on the lead lap.
Loose in, crazy tight on exit.
Crazy tight. Definitely not something you want to hear. You just can't get on the gas quickly.
Yeah, and loose end, you got to get off the gas early when you're loose end.
Side by side here. Crafton. Then it's Colin Brown, Mike Skinner.
Remember, Mike Skinner's a lap down. Right now, Ron Hornady is the first truck 1 lap down. Mike Skinner, the second truck 1 lap down.
Ray, what are they talking about with the 16?
Well, these guys were very, very loose in the middle of the race, guys. And on 102, they came down, put 4 tires on, then came back around for the double dip and got fuel that time. But when we pitted on this last round of pit stops on 124, they put on 4 tires and did not come back down the second time to get that track position. They did make a wedge adjustment, however, on that Conway Ford. And Colin Brown says he likes the way this truck is handling much, much better. Mike Beam telling him no problem with fuel to go to the end here. Just run your race and let's get a good top 5.
Todd Bodine running out front, looking to make it 10 wins on 1.5 mile racetracks. Could he make it 5 wins at this racetrack? He has 4 already, looking to add to that number. The big story tonight has been pit road and the strategy that different trucks and different teams have tried to make work for them. What will be the winning strategy? We're about to find out.
It's Camping World's Destination Recreation.
You know, whether you're looking to purchase a new or a pre-owned RV, Camping World has some great products from super companies like Keystone or Dutchman. But you know what? It's hard to decide just exactly what type of camper you'd like to get. I'd like to make one suggestion. How about starting with a fifth wheel trailer? Now what's really great is your vehicle, this truck, has 4 wheels, but we call the fifth wheel this attachment right here. And what it does is it allows you to take your camper wherever you'd like, put the legs down, and you're ready to stay there. But what's really great is the camper can stay there, and you can get in your truck and head down the road wherever it takes you.
Welcome back to the WinStar World Casino 400 from Texas Motor Speedway. Could Todd Bodine earn his 5th cowboy hat from Texas Motor Speedway? Well, he's out in front and looking pretty strong.
Only 24 laps to go. There's Ron Hornady. There's our second place truck right there, Matt Crafton. He's about 2.6 seconds behind Todd Bodine right now.
And we've heard Mike Hillman Jr. talking a little bit with his driver, mentioning, hey, if Hornady challenges you, all he's trying to do is either get that lucky dog or get his lap back. So don't worry about Ron Hornady right now. Let's just focus on the race that we're running.
Meanwhile, great run for this Conway Ford of Colin Brown. Saw him just a moment ago. He's running in the 3rd spot. There's James Busher, the 10. We're looking at Ricky Carmichael's on board right now. Ricky's running in the 13th spot. Remember, he talked about getting a little bit of momentum back like he had early on in the year. Good run going so far for Ricky Carmichael.
Wanted to get to the finish of the race, get that momentum build up for Ricky Carmichael. And he ran a motorcycle around the racetrack a little earlier in the year, and now out on the racetrack in 4 wheels. Brian Scott, the only caution that we have had because of an incident on the racetrack, that was on lap 41 when Brian Scott had a right front tire go down and got into the wall in turn number 2. Again, that was back on lap 41. We've completed 145 laps with just one other caution that's taken place, and that was for debris.
How about this now? If the race were to end right now, we would have a new point leader, and it would be Matt Crafton. 6 points out in front of Ron Hornady. Look how close 1st through 4 would be right now. 66 points would separate 1st through 4th if the race were to end right now.
What a big night for Matt Crafton, huh, Ray?
Absolutely, Rick. And if you remember early on in the race, I gave you a report about them making air pressure changes. They went down on the left sides and up on the right rear, and Matt Crafton said it brought this truck to life. He is really, really happy with the way it is entering the corner and rolling through the center right now. Now remember, guys, they last pitted on lap 124 and put fuel in this truck, so he's definitely good to go to the end. But, you know, it's very difficult for us to keep track with all these different changes that the guys make, sometimes coming in for gas, sometimes for not. But I'm wondering about Todd Bodine, the guy at the front of the field. Phil, does he have enough gas to make it to the end?
Well, I think it's made pretty close, Ray. He pitted on lap number 104. That means he had 63 laps to go to the end. Obviously, we had a few caution laps. You get a little better fuel mileage. Colin Brown is in the same boat. He pitted actually on lap number 102. So he has to run 65 laps. So we've got our guys right now running 1st and 3rd, and we're wondering if they have enough fuel to get to the end.
Yeah, and by the way, I believe the last 4 out of 5 races here, we have had a green-white checkered finish, which extends this race. So that could come into play as we get to the final laps of this race. Adam Alexander.
I was just going to say, Rick, the green-white checker, certainly not a friend of the 30 bunch right now. And a few moments ago, I went over and talked to Mike Hillman Jr., and I said, are you good to go on fuel, or is it going to be really close? And he hesitated and said, it's going to be really close. And he's got a real nervous look on his face. It's going to be a long 18 laps for those guys.
Side-by-side racing here for David Starr and the 10 of James Busher.
A couple of Texans.
Starr actually in the 7th spot. Busher is scored 3 laps down. He had some issues early on pit road, so he's running 21st. Todd Bodine. Again, it was the last 5 of 6 races here that have been green-white checkered.
A bunch of them.
I was close.
Yeah.
6 total. And Todd Bodine would not want to see a green-white checkered finish. As a matter of fact, he'd love to see this thing go green the rest of the way. But I tell you what, Matt Crafton closed a little bit of the gap earlier, but then has lost it back. So I think Todd Bodine's getting back up on the wheel saying, okay, I've only got 17 laps to go. We're just going to roll the dice and make sure that we give it all we got. And if we run out of fuel, we run out.
That's right. There's a good battle right there for the 8th position. Stacy Compton, that 60 truck, has it. Jason White right now running in the 9th spot. These guys are about a half a lap behind our leader, Todd Bodine, but still with great runs for both of them.
10 trucks on the lead lap. Ron Hornady running 11th, is the first truck 1 lap down, and he's actually just behind our race leader, Todd Bodine, on the racetrack. But again, scored a lap down. Here's a battle for 8th, continuing. Stacy Compton, Jason White. Stacy Compton in the 60, Jason White in the 23 at gunbrokers.com. Dodge just behind the 60.
Right now, Taylor Malsom, the 81 truck, is running in the 10th spot. He's the last truck on the lead lap, but he has a carburetor issue. He actually was going to restart the race in 3rd and pulled up and let everybody go by because he didn't want to jumble up the field, and obviously is off the pace right now. He's not running near as fast as he had earlier. So Taylor Malsom still with a top 10 running going so far, and he may be able to hold on for that top 10 position.
We see Jason White get a great run out of turn number 4. He closes the gap on Stacy Compton, but then just hasn't been able to complete that pass and get by Stacy Compton for that 8th spot. Ricky Carmichael in the 4. There you see the 60 and the 23 continuing to battle for that position. Again, these trucks are on the lead lap. A lot of rubber laid down on the racetrack. You see that dark line down on the bottom of the racetrack. And that, I think, enabled Rick Crawford to stay out a little bit longer on tires that he didn't change. He came in and just got fuel in the green flag stop. And so he was able to stay out, stay on the lead lap. And now Rick Crawford running in the 4th spot.
Yeah, Rick put about 80 laps on those tires. So what a great testament to Goodyear after all the issues we had last week at Dover. Rick Crawford able to stay out and run 80 laps on those tires and still running pretty good lap times.
Adam Alexander.
And I don't think it was any fun when he had to do that. In fact, when the caution came out, they celebrated on the radio, and his crew chief, Kevin Starlin, said, "Thank you so much for hanging with me." And I got to believe if this thing stays the way it is right now until the end and Rick Crawford's able to bring home a top 5 finish, his crew chief going to give him a big hug, because Rick Crawford really manned up. 80 laps on a set of tires is tough at this place.
Boy, it sure is, and that's with everybody else around you with fresh tires for the most part. So great job by Rick and great call by Cowboy to do that. Only bring him in for 1 pit stop, and that was for fuel. Be great to see this team get a. Oh, look at Rick got real sideways off that corner, trying to fight off Johnny Benson.
Johnny Benson behind him. He sees him in the rearview mirror. Rick Crawford again running in the 4th spot. Benson 5th. Those two separated by 0.2 of a second.
Watch this now. Look at Rick get sideways up of turn number 2, and that's at about 155 or 60 miles an hour.
Yeah, and now Johnny Benson has closed the gap. It looks like Rick Crawford's going to move out of the way. A little bit slower on the racetrack is Terry Cook, and I believe it's because he kissed the wall.
Yeah, Terry right now is running in the 19th spot. He does have some damage to the right side of the truck. Dennis Setzer, the 8 truck, able to get by him just a moment ago.
And Phil, we're inside the last 10 laps of this race. It has gone unbelievably quick. The fastest we have ever run a race was with 3 cautions. So we could be setting a record tonight as we see Terry Cook make the hard left turn down onto the apron, and he will head on to pit road.
A tough break for Terry. He was running that high line for the most part during the majority of this race, and he's going to bring that Cajun Industries Toyota down to pit road.
Take another look. Terry.
See Terry up high now. That's where he's been running for the most part, trying to get around the 11 of TJ Bell. Got a little bit loose and then had to chase it up the hill and then ran out of room. Does a nice job of not involving anybody else. That was Dennis Setzer right behind him. We saw him make an incredible save last week at Dover on the very start of the race, but unfortunately Terry not able to keep it on the wall that time. Ray?
Phil, believe it or not, that 25 truck that Terry Cook is driving tonight is Slim Shady. That truck making its 51st start tonight at the racetrack. And what's going on with Hornady? He's slow coming to the pits.
He's on the apron, Ray, coming down towards pit road. Adam?
And he's not said anything, and now he just says no oil pressure on the radio. So obviously it's a problem under the hood for Ron Hornady. You talk about going from bad to worse. They got trapped when they pitted under green and then had the penalty on pit road. That lost them a lap. They were in position to get that lap back should the caution come out, and now disaster for the 33. This the 2nd week in a row.
Guys, I want to add on Matt Crafton a little bit. I am just just having a great time listening to the radio down here. Bud Haefele, the crew chief, on him about every time he comes to the front stretch, and his spotter is Junior Joyner, and he is telling Crafton that he is gaining on the leader by a 10th. Every lap, get your head down, dig, let's go. We're going to get win number 2 tonight. These guys really pumping him up on the radio as Crafton is trying to get within sights of Todd Bodine.
The problem is the laps are running out. We only have 6 laps remaining, and Matt Crafton is 2.2 seconds behind Todd Bodine. So if you do the math, he's going to get to about 1.6 seconds behind him.
Yeah, but does Todd Bodine, who has set a pretty blistering pace here, have enough fuel? Remember, Mike Hillman Jr. said they're very, very close.
They will be holding their breath. I'm sure Todd Bodine, as he goes by the start-finish line, just 5 laps of racing remaining. Todd Bodine thinking, can we get there for a 5th time at Texas Motor Speedway? Matt Crafton still trying to dig, close the gap between he and Todd Bodine.
As Ray said, he gained another 1/10 of a second that lap, but we're running out of time here with 5 laps to go.
Race record for this race, Dennis Setzer set at 148.959 miles per hour. Right now we're averaging 151.8 miles an hour. So this could be the fastest ever Texas Motor Speedway race for the Camping World Truck Series.
The 60 of Stacy Compton is on pit road. He gave up a top 10 running position to come to pit road.
There you see the 30, the Copart Toyota Tundra of Todd Bodine, looking to make it 5 wins at one racetrack. Stacy Compton on pit road now. You can see him on the right side of your screen. Three laps remain. Todd Bodine in front of Matt Crafton. The gap still 2.1 seconds. So if Bodine can hold on and not run out of fuel, he could hold off Matt Crafton and win his 5th race at Texas.
But more importantly, he can stop the string of bad luck he's had over the last 4 races or so.
Todd Bodine has been so good on mile-and-a-half racetracks. This would be the 10th mile-and-a-half racetrack win for him in his 17-win career if he gets to victory lane tonight. Inside of 2 laps remaining. Todd Bodine looking strong here at Texas.
See that class move by Dennis Setzer to move over to give Todd plenty of room to get by on the outside.
There you see the difference between first and second. Todd Bodine in the 30, and then the gold 88 of Matt Crafton just coming on to the right side of your screen. A big enough gap now that Todd Bodine has got to think, please get me around one more time here at Texas Motor Speedway. White flag in the air.
What a great day it'll be for all the Copart people. Jay Adair and all his family here for the first time, and Todd can make it another half a lap. They'll be in victory lane.
Cruising down the backstretch. He knows he has just about a second and a half over Matt Crafton. Trying to hold on. Once again, breaking the bad luck streak that they've had in the 2009 season. Todd Bodine will win at Texas again. 5 times for Bodine.
Great run for Matt Crafton on runner-up finish. With Ron Hornaday's problems, we could have Matt Crafton as our point leader.
Unofficially, Matt Crafton has taken over the top spot from Ron Hornaday. But what a run for Matt Crafton. What a great run for Todd Bodine. Colin Brown with a 3rd place finish today.
Matches his career best. So good job by Mike Beam and all his Roush Fenway guys.
Rick Crawford bringing that truck home in a 5th position. Let's go down to pit road and Adam Alexander.
And Mike Hillman Jr., the crew chief for Todd Bodine. I think you said it best on the radio. It's been a rough couple of weeks, but everyone has hung together. How special is this one, number 5 at Texas?
These guys never give up. That's our motto. That's what we live for, you know. It was awesome to get Copart their first victory in this Tundra tonight. I just want to say hi to my dad. You know, first time I ever won a race without him. I miss him. I love you, Dad. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll bring you a hat.
You know what? You told me a few laps ago it was going to be really close on fuel. How much were you sweating it there?
You know, you always worry about it when you take a chance like that. But he's doing a burnout, so we must be okay.
Father Mike Hillman Sr. calling the shots in Nashville with a Germain nationwide team, and I'm sure enjoying what he's seeing right now, the celebration for Todd Bodine at Texas.
How about that? First time he is headed to victory lane without his dad by his side. Another amazing performance for Todd Bodine at Texas Motor Speedway. He is the first driver to ever win 5 races at a racetrack. Todd Bodine heads to victory lane. Welcome back. WinStar World Casino 400 winner Todd Bodine about to climb out of the Copart Toyota Tundra. Let's go to Adam Alexander.
Rick, no driver has won more races in the Camping World Truck Series at Texas than Todd Bodine. Tonight he gets suite number 5, and he is celebrating in victory lane, prepared to don the cowboy hat. You've been here before. How special is number 5? You were officially the best all time here in a truck.
Yeah, a good friend of mine told me last week he was rooting for me to finish second but not win. Sorry, Brandon, had to beat you, bud. It's incredible. I mean, this truck, right, that last run, we were just too loose the whole race, and Junior made some great calls at the end and fixed it up and made it run. I got to say hi to Ashlyn, love you, Pumpkin, Lenny, the Germains. Oh, man, everybody. Copart, great. They're all here. Awesome night.
1, 2, 3 is how you started this season with a first, second, and third, and then it seemed like everything fell apart. How great is it to know that this team can rally back?
Well, that's our motto, never give up. And last 3 weeks have been tough, 4 weeks have been tough. And they only know one thing, and that's not give up. And that guy over there in Nashville, Senior, it's because of you, babe. We don't give up.
You talked about the calls that your crew chief, Mike Hillman Jr., made tonight, but the critical one, staying out on fuel on that long green flag run so you didn't have to pit for fuel again. How concerned were you in the final laps?
I wasn't concerned. If Junior wasn't concerned, I wasn't concerned. They got it handled, him and Rob. They know they got it down pit to what we have for fuel mileage. And this Toyota Tundra was awesome, and I can't believe we're finally back here.
It's not been easy the last few weeks, but Todd Bodine officially back on top. He's the winner in the Truck Series at Texas, Ray.
Well, Adam, I'm standing by here with Matt Crafton, and you just said that's like kissing your sister. The most disappointing second ever, really?
I can honestly say that, without a doubt, that most disappointing second place finish ever. I mean, this Australian Gold Chevy Silverado, I mean, it was awesome. These guys in the pit saying, at the beginning we were a little bit off. They made just, 2 air pressure adjustments, and it just brought this thing to life. I mean, this Australian Gold Chevy was awesome. I mean, second, third run. This is all who had track position. I think the 30 truck, he just took fuel only and stayed out there on his tires. And I mean, it was whoever's out there in clean air. I mean, I know if I would have been out there in front of him, I'd have probably drove away from him. It was just whoever had the clean air. But all in all, I mean, it's a good point. Stay. I mean, just got to look at the big picture for us. But dang, I wanted to be over there in that in victory lane. I wanted to win one here in Texas.
It was a really good day points-ways, Matt. You have never been the point leader. You were out 1 point last year, but guess what? You're at the top of the board after this race.
I mean, it's cool, but I mean, like I said, it's just the worst feeling right now to finish second and not be over there in victory lane where I know these guys should be with this truck. And this truck's going to be very, very serious contender all year. I can promise you that.
All right, we're watching Matt Crafton. He finishes second. Johnny Sauter, his teammate, gets a 6th, so another great day for Thor Sport Racing.
We were talking points. Let's take a look at the points unofficially. After this race, Matt Crafton climbs to the top. Ron Hornady drops back 30 spots, or 30 points, back to second. Mike Skinner to third. How about Todd Bodine with the win? Moves up into the 4th spot. Ryan Scott holding on to that 5th position in the points. So Todd Bodine getting the 18th win for Germain Racing. The 6th here at Texas. We'll be back for more. News and commentary from SpeedTV.com personalities and industry experts like Chris Devoda, Jimmy Spencer, Hermie Sadler, Tom Johnson, Bob Dillner, and more. Log on to SpeedTV.com, go to the NASCAR section, and look for the voices of speed every week. Celebration continuing for Todd Bodine. And this is becoming, well, pardon the pun, but old hat for Todd Bodine in victory lane. 5 times he has won here at Texas Motor Speedway. Let's go back down to Adam Alexander. Well, before we get to Adam, let's hang on to it here for a second. That's Eddie Gossage, the track president, that's talking with Todd Bodine. And you remember, Brendan Gaughan won here 4 times, and he actually made a comment to Eddie Gossage before the 4th time. He said, hey, what about a pair of boots if I win, you know, as opposed to the hat? And sure enough, he won a 4th time and won the boots. Let's go back down to Adam Alexander.
And we have Rick Crawford, who recorded his 2nd top 5 finish of the year. And you had to really get up on the wheel 80 laps on a set of tires. How tough was that on the old man?
Well, that was tough thinking about it, but Kevin Starler made the call, and we decided just to pit for fuel and try to catch some of these guys down that were double pitting. Circle Bar race team out of Ozona, Texas. Top 5 finish for Tom Mitchell. International Truck and Engine, Ford. Everybody needs to go out and buy one of these Ford F-150s. You can get a great deal at your dealership, and it's 2009 Motor Trend Truck of the Year. But when Kevin Starlin said pit, we're just going to take fuel, I knew then, I said, we got something going. If we can make it to the next fuel stop or have a caution, I just didn't want to be that caution. But good top 5 run tonight for us.
Solid run for Rick Crawford, Ray.
Well, of course, David Starr, the hometown boy. Tell me about your thoughts about another run here at Texas.
Man, it's awesome to have all the Zachary folks. Got the Zachary folks here with us today. There's about 100 of them here, and it takes a force, they say at Zachary. And man, at HT Motorsports, it's a collaborative force amongst all our players. My engineer, Jason Miller, Matt, our crew chief, my engineer, my crew chief. I'm so happy. I'll get everybody confused, but man, week in and week out, they're just giving us some awesome truck. And we had to start at the tail end of the pack tonight because we had to change engines earlier. And didn't realize it, but we got a lap down. We were running 10th and had to go all the way to the end of the lead, tail end of the lead lap. And we had a great truck all night. Our Zachary Toto ton was awesome. Just never could get that track position. You know, we never pray for a caution because every time I pray for a caution, I'm usually the caution. But what a great race. Everybody at HT Motorsports is doing a great job. And week in and week out, our trucks are getting so much better. And if we keep finishing like we are, we're going to sneak out there and get us a couple wins for the years out. So just great to be back up in the top 10. Thought we had a top 5 truck, but we'll take 7th tonight.
All right, congratulations. And of course, wife Kim and David Jr. was here tonight at the Speedway. Adam?
How big is the smile on Jason White's face? 3rd top 10 finish in the last 4 races. You guys are doing it a variety of ways, but the results continue to be very solid.
I tell you what, Doug and these guys have done an awesome job getting this truck right, and it's just great to come out here to Texas, get another top 10. This truck has been awesome, and we're excited about going to Michigan.
You have worked very hard, and sometimes the results have not been there. How satisfying is this for you personally to kind of see the fruits of your labor?
Well, it's just amazing. You get the right people behind you, Gunbroker.com and Steve and all these guys, and it's just when you drive these trucks that we have now, we got really good equipment. It's just so much easier to drive, and the other stuff that I've driven wasn't as good, and this stuff it just feels good. So it's awesome, and Harvick and these guys giving us great trucks. So I'm excited. Thanks, Kev.
See you next week.
All right, buddy.
Celebration for few. Again, we only had 9 on the lead lap. Let's take a look at the unofficial results here. Again, Todd Bodine, his 17th career win in the Camping World Truck Series.
Yeah, great 2nd place run for Matt Craft, and Colin Brown matches his career best. JB with a top 5. We heard from Rick Crawford. Johnny Sauter, a pole sitter, ran really, really well early. Ended up with a 6th place finish, and David Starr, the local Texas boy, with 7th.
Mike Skinner, again, the first truck a lap down. He finishes in 10th. You have to look quite a ways back until you see Hornady. Again, he had problems at the end of the race, came down onto the apron and back onto pit road. He ends up 19th, 4 laps down.
Good run for Ricky Carmichael. Ran all the laps. He was 1 lap down at the end, finishes 11th, and Timothy Peters with a great 12th place run here.
Eric Almirola driving that 15 tonight. Stacy Compton, Brian Eichler jumping into the truck for Kyle Busch because Kyle running at Pocono this weekend, so couldn't make the long trek here to Texas to run that truck. So Brian Eichler ran tonight, and he ends up 6 laps down to the field. So the WinStar World Casino 400 is in the books, and it's Todd Bodine celebrating once again in victory lane. Everything's bigger in Texas. Well, that just added to his trophy case for Todd Bodine. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series on Speed is brought to you by Just for Men. Stay in the game with Just for Men hair color. And by Z-Max, performance you can feel. Todd Bodine will be in victory lane for quite some time tonight. I'm sure celebrating this the 5th time at Texas Motor Speedway.
Getting congratulated by some of the folks from Toyota.
A gamble that paid off for Todd Bodine. They weren't sure, they weren't positive they were going to be able to make it all the way to the checkered flag, but it ended up working out for them. One on the other side of it in the disappointing category, Ron Hornady. He's with Adam Alexander.
Yeah, Rick, he had won the last 2 races here at Texas and started 09 very, very good. 6 consecutive top 10s, but tough breaks in the last 2 weeks. How frustrating is this for you, Ron?
Like I told you before, nobody wants to lead the points in this truck series for some reason. But no, the guys done a great job the first pit stop. Looks like we got a tire getaway the second one, and real lucky we caught it. I mean, the oil pump belt came off, and they had another one, slipped it back on. We finished 19th. So that's a championship caliber team, putting that thing back together after what happened last week and then again this week. So we'll go on. I mean, the guys have been working hard. The Longhorn, the brand is really sticking with us, and we're looking forward to it. It just we'll rebound. That's all right.
See you next week.
Of course. Thank you.
Ray?
I'll tell you what, Adam, talking about mechanical problems, how about Taylor Melsom? Boy, things just, you guys have a great run going, then something reaches up to bite you. What happened tonight?
Oh, yeah, this 180 Tundra was good tonight, but we lost the clutch on that last pit stop and go in the corner of the rear end unlock, and it would make us all loose getting in. But they did a good job of keeping me out there and keeping me pumped up, and it was a great run for us tonight.
Tell me about your first trip to Texas. How'd you like it?
It's fun. Toyotas have the horsepower here is killer. I mean, we just ran around there and kept running wide open on the top, and bottom 1 and 2, and it was fun. I had a lot of fun. Randy Moss Motorsports did a good job this weekend.
All right, congratulations. It looked like he was going to get a top 5 tonight, guys, but he comes out with a top 10. Not bad.
Taylor Malsom, Mike Skinner, Randy Moss Motorsports, 9th and 10th. Let's take a look at tonight's Advanced Auto Parts save of the race.
Brian Eichler, that 51 truck avoids Ron Hornady. Ron pulled out of his pit, squeezed Brian a little bit. There's another view of it. Watch the yellow front truck there, and Brian Eichler did a nice job not getting into the truck on the outside of him as well as avoiding Hornady.
The save of the race was brought to you by Advanced Auto Parts. Keep the wheels turning. Texas Motor Speedway under the lights. Once again, a great show. We'll be back here in October. But right now, it's Todd Bodine celebrating again. Welcome back to Fort Worth, Texas. Texas Motor Speedway celebration in Victory Lane beginning to dwindle just a bit. Let's take a look at tonight's Stay in the Game with Just for Men hair color moment. Got to focus on that 30 of Todd Bodine.
Yeah, what a great call. He comes in on their last caution flag for tires. And when everybody else comes in the next time around, watch top of your screen. There's Todd Bodine, stays on the racetrack, as well as Colin Brown. And that led to Victory Lane for Todd Bodine and that Copart Toyota.
Mike Hillman Jr. making the call. Stay on the racetrack. We think we can make it. Adam Alexander, I believe you've caught up with Colin Brown.
Best run of the season for Colin Brown, and if you keep putting together runs like this, it's just a matter of time before you're the one celebrating at the end of the night.
Well, I sure hope so. You know, all the guys in the number 6 Conway Ford F-150 certainly deserve it, and I feel like tonight kind of screwed up there at the end. You know, I told them to tighten my truck up a little bit. We were fighting free the whole day or the whole night, and just a little bit too tight at the end. Unfortunately, that restart didn't go the way we wanted it to. I think not having any Ford buddies up there being laps down hurt us a little bit, but I feel like this is a really good day for points for all of these guys.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
How about a great finish for Johnny Benson, 4th? Are you happy with that?
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, it was the truck wasn't quite right. It was close, but not enough to maybe run with a couple other guys up front there. But Trip Bruce and the guys did a great job on the number 1 Toyota Tundra. So we're just happy. We got to get back and start building points again. You know, we've had a rough couple of weeks and fell back, but you know, we'll just keep working toward the front and see what happens. And our pit calls were good. Our truck ran great. Just a little bit off is all.
Traditionally, you've never won in June, and in the mid part of the summer, you really catch fire. You feel that momentum coming?
It is. I mean, June is where we normally win them, June and July and all that. But so I was hoping, you know, it is a, 3rd or 4th or whatever, 5th, or it's got to be close. So, yeah, I mean, I really thought we had a pretty good truck coming into tonight. So, you know, we come out of here 4th and not beat up or anything like I have the last couple of weeks. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the job that Trip Bruce and all the guys did.
Okay, Michigan next for Johnny Benson.
Michigan, Milwaukee, Memphis. Those are our next 3 races, the 3 M's. Johnny Benson so good at the Milwaukee Mile. That's June 19th. And then again, we go back to Memphis Motorsports Park on the 27th. Another M that I think we should throw in there has got to be momentum. And I think right now, Todd Bodine might have the momentum that can carry him towards a Michigan performance that should be equally as good as this one tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And Matt Crafton as well. Matt Crafton's second place finish propels him into a point lead by 30 points over Ron Hornady. So Matt Crafton is a guy that you're going to have to contend with, I think. He's always been consistent. Early part of the season, he was top 10s every week. Now he's getting top 5. So now he can think about that championship.
Right. And we heard Ron Hornady talking about the fact that he has had 2 bad weeks in a row, but this team is still championship caliber because they're only 30 points back.
Oh, yeah. Ron Hornady, you know he's going to be there. He won this championship 2 years ago. He fought with Johnny Benson right to the very end, to the last lap last year, and he's going to be there. He's going to be strong. That KHI team with Rick Wren, always going to be there.
It's always exciting to see, too, a guy like Matt Crafton, who gets his first win a year ago and now at the top of the points standing. So potentially Matt Crafton a front runner for a championship.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can't. We just talked to Johnny Benson a few minutes ago. We know he knows how to win a championship. He won last year. So we have so many great stories up in the top 10. Anybody right now in the top 10 has a shot at this thing.
And a young driver that struggled in practice yesterday but got it squared around and straightened out today is Ricky Carmichael. He's with Adam Alexander.
Getting good in the world of NASCAR, no doubt a long educational process, and I think you went to the classroom again tonight, Ricky Carmichael, with a top 12 finish. That's nice.
Yeah, it was awesome. I can't say enough for Monster Energy Chevrolet and Kevin Harvick Incorporated. They got some good stuff, man, and glad to finally finish. I did what I needed to do. I lost so much track position. Told the guys I was sorry about that, but just nice to finish and get some momentum. Nice to learn that air on 1.5 miles. So I think next time will be even better for me.
How tough has it been to be away a couple of weeks and now come back and have to get in it?
Very tough. You know, that's where you have to have realistic expectations, you know, when you take off. And these guys have been racing every weekend. But I'm just thankful to be out there, and we're going to keep improving.
Great job, Ricky.
Thank you.
Well, Todd Bodine is still enjoying the fact that people want to take pictures. And that always works out, I guess, when you have 17 victories to your name. Todd Bodine's going to celebrate quite a bit.
I wouldn't want to leave either.
Yeah. Let's hang out here. I want to take more pictures if I can. That's great. Our next stop will be Michigan. It's the Michigan 200 Michigan International Speedway. That's Saturday, June 13th. That's a full weekend, too, at Michigan International Speedway.
Yeah, but can we get closer, have a closer finish than we had last year?
I don't think so.
It was an inch and 3/8.
Yeah, we had Johnny Benson and Eric Darnell cross the start-finish line. Well, I called it virtually identical, but it was door to door, and like you mentioned, just over an inch separated those two trucks.
Yeah, always a great run there. Brian Scott, our most recent winner, had a little trouble here, but what a great night here in Texas, and a pretty clean race here. Not many caution flags.
And how about the fact that we didn't have any precipitation all weekend here at Texas Motor Speedway? We love that fact, and we love the fact that the momentum is going now for the Camping World Truck Series. Our next stop is Michigan. Make sure to tune in. Todd Bodine wins here in Texas.
Next week, the trucks head to Michigan to do battle in the Motor City. Is there anyone who can contend in Roush's house? Catch all the action starting with the setup at 1:30, live on Speed. Be there.